All right. Welcome in all to episode 4 of Finding Truth on the Unscripted Truth TV channel. I am Logan, once again here with Austin. And on tonight's episode, this is going to be maybe the most scattered one we have, but the points we'll be bringing up are, going to be poignant in their own ways. And we're going to start with a little bit of some of the natural side to this gematria thing and just the life synchronicities and how certain things that can't possibly have connected find their way to find their meeting place in the end. And without further ado, I'm going to kick it down to Austin, who's going to talk about a little bit about what's going on in his own life this past week or so. Take it away, bro.
Yeah, absolutely. It's just been a weird week. Some of the things I was talking about, and then all of a sudden, we did our third podcast, and obviously this is our fourth. And Monday, it's a normal day. I went to the gym, and then I came home, and then
Hey, I don't want to stop you mid sentence there, but your phone's like crackling a little bit, and it's kind of like, okay, stop crackling. Just talk.
Maybe I was something else. Okay, all right. So,
well, it's still a little muffled.
A little muffled.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I hear me now.
All right. Let me know if you can hear me. All right.
You sound great.
Okay. So this week, it's just been a weird week. I come home from the gym Monday, and then my buddy in Wisconsin sends me something. Shows me one of my cousins died. It's just kind of out of the blue, and I guess I'll take the story more from the top and talk about my other cousin real quick that I feel is somehow kind of involved in this or related. Because back in 2010, the funny thing, I was just talking about this in the last episode. I was talking about Paul Gray, and then he died in May of 2010. I have a cousin, Brandon Sheldon Kletchka, that died in May of 2010, not long after he died. Or no, he died, and then Paul Gray died on the 24th. And it's so weird how like these two things happened together the way they did, and the timing and everything. And I always thought there was something to it. And when my cousin died, it was really weird because when I heard the news that day, I'm just like, I kind of was like iffy on it. Like they say he stole his mom's car, crashed it at a high rate of speed, and he died at the age of 13. I thought that was really strange. Hearing the news, it was like, and then I go to the funeral too, and like things just weren't adding up, and the way people were, and there's just something to it. And I went, when I went to the death scene of where he died, the weird thing was, they said it was a dead end road. They said he hit a tree. They said speed was an issue, and if you even look it up, it says they were still looking into it, like they never figured it out. And the weird thing was when I went there was no evidence of a car crash. There was no evidence that a car at a high rate of speed, did anything. There was no evidence. There was just this like little faint pile of like debris in the middle of the cul-de-sac, but there wasn't even a tree. There was like a bush, a shrub. There's no way if a car hits this, there'd be the bush shrub be taken out. There'd be, debris, tire tracks, there'd be more to it. And there was just simply nothing there, and nothing that looked like what was reported. And I always felt, and I always wondered what really happened to my cousin, because it just didn't seem right what happened. And this was, May of, 2010. I was 15, and I kind of knew him pretty decently. Like he was definitely never suicidal. He was always a cool dude. I mean, I never had a fight argument with him, my whole life. So, and he was born in November of 96. So he's like about like a year and a half younger than me. But the weird thing is like when I heard this, it didn't like compute in my head, because like I was always cool with him, and like I always kind of looked up to him, like it just didn't seem right. And I always wondered what happened to this day. There's some interesting things to all of this as well, and it relates, like I said, to my cousin Tyler that just died. I feel because this is like another car or UTV incident or something like that. But think about it. I mean, it's our fourth episode. It's the 4 is number of deaths. So,
Mhm.
and what's so weird about my cousin, they said he died, or he said he's from Peshtigo, Brandon. Peshtigo in gematria equals 45. And of course, Wisconsin, equals 44. Kill 44. So there's this so much Wisconsin and kill and 44 lately, and then they say Marinette County or something, Marinette, Wisconsin. I'm not sure if that's where he died, but Marinette equals 42, like Austin, like Jesuit. And it's interesting because they say it was, like a car accident. Car accident equals 45. Car equals 13. He died, they say, he died at 13. So I figure that's really weird as well.
Mhm.
And then, like I said, he just never seemed to be suicidal. He never um seemed to be like that kind of type of person. It's like, and from knowing him and like then hearing this, then like putting the pieces together and nothing making sense and the way people were about it, it's like I always knew there was just something to it. And it happened so long ago. It's funny because I knew Gematria, the killing name. I didn't know Gematria. I didn't know Zach. I was only 15. But I was still, I knew kind of what was up, but I just didn't have a lot of information. Like I said, I tried looking up, up his death and stuff. It's like they don't really want you to look at it. It's just really weird. And then I tie it in with my cousin Tyler, and then hearing this, and this is just the weirdest story. I've just I can't help but fathom how strange all this is. He dies, he dies at the age of 40, of course. Um,
Of
he
course.
dies on 10/4. What a day to die. There's 44 right there. Kill equals 44. Wisconsin equals 44. Um, they say he's from Shawano. Shawano equals 27. Shawano, Wisconsin equals 206. Anago, Wisconsin equals 74, where he's supposedly from. Anago equals 33. So there's some interesting gematria. And then, of course, he's born in 84, like Jesuit, like Austin. And then he dies in 24. So, I mean, there couldn't be enough 4s here for our fourth episode, and 4 being the number of death, like Cobain died in 94. And then if you write out his name, Tyler Chance Schreiber, it equals 201 and 102. And if you write out the name of our channel, Unscripted Truth TV, it equals 201 and 102. And it's all in back-to-back ciphers. So there's a 201 in every single one of these. So it's
Now I
strange.
will put a disclaimer that I am echoing for the first time since we've been doing this. Is that something we could fix?
It doesn't sound like you're echoing on my
Oh, it
end.
was just a second ago. Okay, now it's not. Perfect. All right. Maybe it was through something of mine. Oh, actually, it could be. Anyway, let's just go with it. So, just a disclaimer about the name. I have a piece of paper around here somewhere. I'll have to find it so I can show it to you as much proof as that'll be. But for any like over the top conspiracy theorists, I initially had, I think 3. I was trying to come up with names for the channel, and I had 3, this being the third one, when I got the idea to look at the gematria of the names. I think one of them was unscripted reality, and I can't remember. I have a paper with them written down, but on the third one, that's where I put down unscripted truth TV. So it was natural in the way that I came up with the name, but then I looked up the gematria and this one was 201. I was like, all right. Instantly, I was like, all right, that's the one I'm going with. So there is foreknowledge about the name of our channel. So anybody who's, oh shit, look at this, they're 201 in their name. Yeah, it's on purpose. So anyway, go ahead. I'm sorry about that.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the funniest thing is the name of our channel. And then his name in 201 and 10 it is 102 and in the first
Mhm.
two ciphers. And it's so you have 201 and four ciphers and all back to back and all together like that. Um can't say I've ever seen that before. And then the name of our channel, this is what kills me in this is UTTV. That's the name of our channel. And he dies supposedly on a UTV, and they add a T in his name. There's an extra T, like for cross, like Jesus, for death. It's and then the craziest thing too is his middle name is Chance. Like, what are the chances? Like,
Mhm.
what's the chance of that? Like, and then the picture they show. I mean, it's like I don't know. There's something to it. Like, what are your thoughts on all of this?
Well, I definitely, that was a big when I initially when you sent me the text and we were talking about it the other day. That's what popped out to me. It's just like I mean, that's like just my eyes went wide as soon as I saw UTV. I'm like, you don't hear that phrase even very often. You don't hear anyone call a vehicle a UTV anyway. It's just not normal. You don't hear that. Very rarely do you hear that unless you're like shopping at a dealership or something for one. So, I mean, I could go through and highlight this, but I mean, one, two, three. I feel like they used it a couple more times, and I might not just be seeing them. I don't know, just like the overuse of the word.
That's what
And
I thought too. When I first saw this, I honestly, I died. I literally died. I'm like, this cannot be real. Like, I thought this was a joke. And when he sent me this, like, I literally almost like cried. It was like, I couldn't believe what I was seeing. Like, I thought I was like losing my mind. It's like,
I
because
got tingles for sure.
it was weird the way it came up because we just were talking about and something was on my mind too. Like, I always think about my cousin, like I said, Brandon Shell. Like, I always think about him, and every time I talk about the Paul Gray thing, like we just talked about in last episode. And the funny thing is, we just start doing this channel. We just start doing this, and he's dead, or he dies after our second episode 5 days after that, and he was already dead in the last episode. I didn't even know he was dead. And then the way this comes up, it's like my buddy sends me this, and I'm just like, he's like, people are trying to get a hold. He's like, these, do you know these people? I'm like, are these clowns? These, I'm like, no. He's like, I got a block. He was like, they said your cousin died or something, and then he sends me. It's like the way this came to me. It's like I didn't even believe it. He sent me it. I looked at it because the way his picture looks, like it's just there's something to it. Like it's like that's the picture they use. I don't know. It's
It's
just
like a
something.
Nokia cell phone, like the first Nokia that ever had camera
Right,
adaptation. Like, I mean, this is for an obituary. I mean,
right.
even just the little PNG they use to advertise for their obituary services is higher resolution. It's strange.
And what are the chances that when have you ever seen a name like that with a T in there like that? When have you ever seen that?
It's definitely a long name, and yeah, it
I
definitely is odd that they, you know, uh, what's the word? Not abbreviate, but I guess abbreviate his one of his middle names, or if he even has another one, but not another one. It's like if you're like, why do one and not the other, or not both, or not neither? Why do one and also another one? Like that's odd.
Yeah, and just the way, like you said, when I was reading that, I'm like, well, why did they just keep bringing up how much he was into UTVs? Like that's all I see is UTV, UTV. I'm like, what is this? And then I'm looking at the T, and then I'm like, what am I even looking at? I mean, I honestly, it didn't even look real. I mean, and what's so crazy, if you keep looking at, like I said,
Wow, the way they spelled his name equals 104. Like his accident was on October 4th. The way they
yeah,
put his name.
yeah.
Hmm. Sorry,
And
go
all the
ahead.
fours. I mean, there how many fours? I mean, four number of death. This is our fourth channel, or this is our fourth episode, and then it just it went so crazy. If you write out Tyler, his name, it equals 26. Of course, God 26, 26 letters in the alphabet. Cobain equals 26. So I find that to be very interesting that, a chance. I mean, what are the chance? Like this middle name equals 29. It's like, it's my golden year. I'm 29.
Oh, yeah.
Schreiber equals 87. The reflection is 78, like Jesuit. There's a lot of Jesuit here. The funeral home, Swedberg equals 45. Like I thought that was kind of interesting too. And what's strange about it too is my other cousin died at 13. So if you subtract 40 from 13, you get 27.
Ritual. See, I highlighted he was a MacGyver, which is kind of interesting. MacGyver 40. Wow. The age of death.
Yeah, I mean, it just, the chances of it, like I said, it's just, I mean, is it not just the most like just craziest thing you've ever seen? It's just like, how does this even? And the fact that I have a cousin that equals 201 like that, it's just like my high school, Bayport High School. That's another thing this made me think of too, because like his name, you know, how it's Tyler Schreibner, right? It makes kind of sounds like Taylor Business in a way. And then that whole Bayport High School thing. I don't know if you heard about what she did. My high school equaling 201.
I got it. Okay.
Did you ever hear about that Taylor Business story?
No, you mentioned it, but I didn't ask.
Yeah, she murdered Shad Theory, and she fucking like murdered him and like raped his body while she was like killing him and stuff. It was like,
I have heard about this.
yeah.
Please don't play a video. Yeah. Very interesting.
Yeah, and it's just like, I mean, it's just like what really happened to him too. I'm not saying he's not dead, but I'm just saying like what really happened. I mean, you really think that was just an accident, that all that lines up. It's like this whole thing's a joke. I mean, it's a joke on jokes. You see what I'm saying?
I mean, it doesn't seem like he's the most likely person for it to happen to, being, it goes through in details like how, passionate he was about all of these hobbies and how he could fly a plane, but he had, has an accident.
Right. I mean, the timing of it. I mean, everything about it. I mean, I've never seen something so fishy in my whole life. I mean, and it's just like I said with my cousin Brandon. I mean, it's the same thing. I mean, I don't know what to make of it. I don't know what really happened. I mean, how did these people supposedly die? What happened to them? I mean, it's crazy. I mean, and it just doesn't, and I don't know if I've even known Tyler. I don't know if I ever met him or even knew him. So my other cousin, like I said, Brandon, I didn't see him for a while. And the funny thing, the last time I really hung out with him was, it was back in like 2007, I think, around like September, October. So it was probably like 17 years ago.
Yeah.
We were hanging out. Funny thing, we were at a funeral. We're at someone in my family died, so we were at a funeral, and we're outside, and we were, like, just playing, throwing the football around. We went, back to, my place. We're playing the PS2, playing Madden and stuff. So, I was talking to him. He was cool. Never seen suicidal, never seen any issues. Just someone I looked up to, and someone I always thought could be like right here with you and us right now doing what we're doing. So it's like, and then he just supposedly kills himself, and then you get this story here where he just, again, it's one of these accidents, and it's just the most bizarre thing I've ever seen. I mean, it's there he is. That's the picture I
Yeah.
had of him.
It's definitely interesting how these things end up playing out. And like you were saying, when you told me about it, and his name's 201, which, take it for what you will. I mean, to the average, person hearing that, I'm sure that, there's like, but I mean, when you've kind of gone as deep as we have into, let's just say down the rabbit hole, because normies will understand what that means. Certain things just can no longer be like, certain coincidences. Is like there's always going to be, you start to teeter on the edge of, almost nothing is a coincidence once you reach a certain point. And you kind of got to check yourself so that you're not just saying, oh, look at the way my toothbrush landed when I dropped it. You don't want to get to that point. But there's certain things that are, pretty much undeniable that, show up, and they're definitely for you to see. And, before this all happened too, I was having this idea about, I think the world could kind of become closer if we just always shared our dreams with each other. Because like God knows how many people might have connecting dreams, but they're just too embarrassed to think that they might have a connecting dream, so they just won't ever tell it. I don't know, it was a weird thought. But this is before you hit me up with that. And then I see right there, UTV, which is very easily an acronym for our channel. You could easily say that, unscripted truth, or whatever, is one word. If, or like, say we took it to the stock market, that's what it would be. It would be UTV.
Yeah.
It's acronym. So that, I
I,
mean,
I
that
mean,
was definitely.
and why would they, it's so weird how much that's used in there. Like why would, who wrote this? Like, and you know what's funny, at the bottom it says Justin Kletchka. I don't know if that's, they meant to say Austin, or that's a Justin Kletchka. It's funny, Austin and Justin, and Austin Kletchka and Justin Kletchka have like a lot of the same gematria too. So like, I don't know if that was like what that was. So I thought that was very strange.
Yes. Also, I've never heard a special cousin. What is that? Is that like a normal terminology? I've
Right.
literally
See,
never heard that.
and I'm wondering, is that AJ? Is that like them adding the T? Like, how much of this would be like when I was reading that, like, it's just, I'm like, who's writing this? Who wrote this? This is just like, it's the way this was drawn up just did not even look, I don't know. It just, nothing about it seemed right. And like you said, it's like he's like, you hear this guy's like flying planes. He's into planes, go figure planes, 9/11. But uh, these are the things he's doing. And then you hear this kind of story, and then it happens now, and it's just like, what was this accident? I mean, was he just, where was it? Like, they don't even give details. Like, oh, he just died of injuries. Well, it's just like my cousin Brandon. I went to the funeral. His body wasn't beat up, or there wasn't that much damage. I mean, you hit a tree at a high rate of speed. I mean, it's gonna fuck you up. You're gonna get fucked up. He didn't look fucked up at all. He looked fucking normal. So it's like, and the way people were acting, they were acting like, it was like a joke. And I'm just like, and people were even saying like stuff about this. And I heard the same thing. And then we went to where they said he died. We were looking around. I'm like, I don't see this tree. I see this bushy shrub, like some grass, the field. It's like this open dead end. There's nothing there. I mean, there's just this little random pile of like debris that doesn't look like anything, that's like in the middle of the thing, and that's it. I mean, there's no tire tracks, there's no marks, there's no damage anywhere. And this is where he died. I mean, and they don't really like tell you anything. They don't really show you anything. So it's like, the way they go about these things and how this happens. I mean, you can't tell me it's not just like the most disturbing, disgusting, diabolical things you've ever seen. Like, the way it just boggles my mind.
Yeah, it definitely has an air of, I won't say foul play. I'm not close enough to this, but I from everything I've seen, it reeks of synchronicities. And why it's synchronistic is, there's not, I'm not seeing the good sides of that. But it definitely reminds me of how my grandma's death was handled. That was definitely sketchy. the way they went about that. Uh, and this is when I was a lot younger, and uh, I didn't even know that, I came to find out that I was the only one of her grandchildren, or so, second level of family that was on her will. And that was, of course, because I was the only one that truly loved my grandma the way she, people deserve to be loved, not because she had money or anything. Not to say she was rich or anything, but she, a lot of my family took advantage of her in that way, and I was the only one that didn't. So, when it all came down to it, I was the only one uh, on her will. But my uncle ended up handling that, and he had drug problems, and he was always borrowing money from her, getting him to buy him things because she was like addicted to buying stuff online, like a lot of old people do. But yeah, I'm pretty sure I was a lot higher of a beneficiary, but I was young and didn't realize that I should have disputed my uncle and all of that stuff. So, hindsight's 2020, and I don't like thinking about it because, yeah, I don't. I'm sure my grandma's rolling around saying, you know, this stuff wasn't for you, my druggy son. This is for my grandson that spent summers with me when he didn't have to, and help me do puzzles. And because she did she would buy puzzles, and I became insane at puzzles. I mean, I don't care if you could there was barely a picture on there, I could do them. But she would try to resell them on eBay and stuff, so she had that going for her. But yeah, just when it comes down to people's deaths and like the handling of the logistics of things, like how the funeral homes and the lawyer crap, whatever they I can't remember what kind of lawyers those are that deal with that. But you know just the fact that my uncle was allowed to solely handle it when he's just like an obvious like junkie, and that I wasn't more alerted to the situation, to where to how severe it was, and how my role in the situation before before it, I just allowed me to basically get paid off for a small amount, thinking that all was all I was supposed to get. Anyway, not that I care about that. Honestly, that's still one of the things why I haven't like thought about pursuing it or anything, because like at the end of the day, it was never about my grandma's possessions or anything like that. But it is sad to know that they went to someone who didn't truly care about her the way I did. But it ties into these, and her passing was very strange. She passed in a very quick manner, like within a couple of days. She had been sent to the hospital, and boom, she was dead. When her caretaker was that same person I'm talking about, my uncle, her son, who seemed like he always would have preferred her out of the picture, just because he's a deadbeat kind of person. But yeah, it's these kind of things, they hit close to home, and they're rough, and they're especially when you start noticing these synchronicities. I could see that I could tell that it would be a shock to the system, and just the fact that it has these connections that couldn't possibly have been for, like, there's no way they could have foreshadowed these connections. So it's very strange how they still show up, like I was leading into at the beginning. This is kind of what I'm talking about, like the whole UTV thing. This is a name that I came up with. So it's, the name being 201 is because of me. And yet you start a podcast with me, and within this, after the second episode, a week or less than a week later, your cousin's gone, and it has parallels to your other cousin passing. And these are things that are, I think people could relate a lot to that, especially when you add in the gematria aspect too. You can start to see a lot of synchronicity, and which can provide some fun and some clarity, but it also is when it comes to the agencies that, put on these types of things, it's very suspicious, if you will. Like, why use these names? Why use these numbers? Is that what's going on? Is this pure chance? It's hard to say.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, how can you just not look at that? And I mean, nothing about that even looks legit. It just looks like the biggest mockery. Like I said, when I honestly looked at this, I just like died. Like I was like crying. I'm like, what is this even real? Like I had to look at this. Like I was just reading it. I'm like, and I just kept. I mean, like this is. It just has to be. It's like they're watching us. We're making this channel. We're making these videos. We talk about, the Jesuits, the Jesuit order, the Illuminati, the Freemasons, and then it's like this is what you're gonna get. For doing it. It's like I said, for me, knowing Gematria, the killing name, I didn't know Gematria. I didn't know Zach. I knew a lot, but I didn't know all that much, but I still knew a bunch. But it's like I knew Gematria, the killing name, and then, and there's Paul Gray, and then it's like, oh, there goes my cousin, and then, oh, there goes Paul Gray, and then it's just like that happens in the same month, but, less than 2 weeks apart. I just, that as well, just, it's like for like it's like it's like for making a move, it's like they have to do something. It's like, or you have to be like, they have to pull something like this. I don't know, it seems it's funny too, because that was 14 years ago, Brandon, so there's another 4 in this. So yeah, I mean, and then I've never seen so many 4s. I mean, it's just like, in like you said, with his name and how you change it, and then you get the 104 with the T.
Yeah, that's definitely. I mean, that's pretty blatant how they did it. I mean, it's in the just in the first paragraph, second sentence, that they list when the accident took place.
And look at the dates they brought up to. I mean, 94, 2002. I was just talking about these years. I talked about 94, 2002. And like, who wrote this in the high school? Like, I talk about Bayport High School or Shauna. It's like, and like I said at the bottom, that Austin Justin. I'm like, hey, wait, special cousin. I'm like, is there a Justin? There very well might be a Justin Kletchka. There might be, but then they say, or I'm like, wait, special, does that mean Austin? Or because Austin and Justin have a lot of the same gematria. If you do Austin and Justin and
I mean,
Austin
yeah, it's
Kletchka.
only one letter, of course. Yeah.
Right. Is that like them adding the T? Like, what? It's just, you can't tell me it's not the most bizarre thing you've ever looked at. I mean,
It's pretty odd, especially, yeah, because in reduction, J would be 1, just like A is in, the normal, or in ordinal. So it would have the same reduction cipher. Yeah. Oh yeah, and reverse duh. Yeah. Seems a
yeah, it's
little
just,
interchangeable there.
yeah. I mean, it's just wow. I mean, I was never so mind blown when I seen this. I'm just like, and like I said, the Swedberg. I mean, that equals 45. So I mean, I'm sure they're playing a role here too. So I mean, yeah, I've just never seen a bigger mockery. I mean, yeah, on the staging, like I said, the staging of the death, and just, and like I said, who knows what really is happening. Like I said, it's very sad, and it's, it does make me angry and sad at the same time, just knowing this is going on. Like I said, are these people being murdered, taken out? What's really going on? I don't know what's going on. I don't know how they're pulling it off, how they're doing it. I mean, because like I said, if you look at the Brandon thing, it said they were still looking at or investigating it. So it's like they didn't even. Well, then what did they even look at? You know what I mean? It's just like, then you go to where it happens. It doesn't look anything like they say. So
Well, there's even a Logan in their family. Don't see that name very often. Not that it matters. Just. Hmm. Strange how it all works.
yeah, it's wild. And it's weird too. It's like the timing too. I was just everything I've been saying lately. It's just, and here it is. And like I said, there's so much funny business. Like I said, in my life, there's so many things I see that happen to me. So it's like I never can tell like what it is, but you just know it doesn't belong, and you see stuff like this, and you have to just call it out and take the time to look at it, because it's like, well, how can you not? I mean, because I mean, like even when Brandon died, people at school were coming to me like, Austin, that was your cousin. Austin, that was your cousin, right? Austin, you knew him, right? I'm like, yeah, I know who that is. It's like, and like when I heard the news that day, I'm like, I didn't even believe it. It's just like, it's like 50-50. I'm like, did he really do that? I just can't see it. And then I go there and I don't see it at all. So yeah, it's something
Yeah,
I think about it all the time too. And I always think about every time I talk about Paul Gray and Gematria and the killing, I think about Brandon because this is what I think about. I mean, all the connections. Paul Gray.
I died at 38 too.
Yep. Death, murder, killing, RIP 38. Dies in Iowa. Iowa's right next to Wisconsin. It's all connected.
Oh yeah. Hmm. Strange, strange indeed. Yeah, it's strange how it makes you think. It's like, am I, is life, happening around me, or am I influencing life, or it's probably something in the middle. It's probably a bit of both. But when it comes to these, I did notice that your name is 84 too, just like what was it? Tyler was born in 84. Not, it could be a reach, just another synchronicity there.
Yeah, I
But
mean, it's like I said, where have you ever seen that many fours? I mean, there's just fours as there could be as many fours. I mean, everything's so squared off too. I mean,
you could imagine. You mean how many pilots are there per capita? Very very few. That number is very small. Pilots do tend to have societies. Almost, guaranteed he would have been offered a membership to a society. Like, I would have zero doubts that he was offered membership to. And not to throw shade at every society or every group or whatever, but if you think about it, it's like when there's levels to these things. So not everyone's gonna be. It's not like the lodge meetings have 10,000 people going to them, but that's not to say that they don't have a network of 10,000. You know what I mean? So it's like through other, there's a member of that lodge that is also the head of the flight society. You know what I mean? The pilot society. And he's offered membership into that, and it's innocent enough and stuff like that, but that kind of brings in the head the leader of the pilot society's quotas he's got to meet for the Masonic lodge, and so it's like you don't even know who you're serving, and you don't even know you're serving. So at the end of the day, if you were the leader of one of these small time societies, would you want your lodge brother or you dying, or someone in your family dying, or when you could offer up a person that doesn't, that's just doesn't even know they're under anybody. It's
yeah,
what I
and
think. Go ahead.
even his picture. I mean, his picture looks like it's from '94. I mean, it's just the weirdest looking picture. Like, why choose that? And chance. I mean, what are the chances? I mean,
There's definitely some. The wording is strange. Let's see here. Expressions of sympathy. Okay, this is just like an offshoot of that obituary website, I'm assuming. I never went down here. Oh, okay. Here. Hold on. I did not go this far. I honestly thought the page ended. Hmm. It's the type of guy who would do anything for you.
I don't know. That's what I just kept reading. Like, he was just everybody is, the things people were saying, and
This is disgusting. That is just a plague. I mean, this is somebody's son. This is somebody's brother. Leave the emojis out of your damn eulogy or whatever this is. Your little online eulogy. Leave the emojis out. Like this is must be an adult, around the same age as Tyler, and he's leaving clapped hand, praying hands emojis. Like what the hell? Sorry, that's a side note, but it's like that almost like, in my opinion, it could just be like what what is it, like what generation would a 40-year-old be? Can't think of it. Like a baby boomer? No, not a baby boomer, but something, a Gen Xer or something. I can't remember how they go, but he might just not understand that that's cringe. But still, just the idea is like using an emoji in that. That's sorry. I'll try to get off of that. That's cringe though.
Yeah, and on 10-4, like 10-4, good to go. 10-4, like you say, like you say 10-4.
Yeah, like a pilot would say.
Right.
Yes. That first one honestly stands out. Oh, geez. Come on, guys.
And it's like I said, when do you ever see like a 201 in like every cipher? I mean,
come on. This is disgusting. Yeah, very true.
I mean, I honestly don't think I know that. All the years of gematria, I don't know if I know a 201, 102 in every cipher like that. I mean,
Oh, that's too bad. See, why not use this picture?
that's what I'm saying. That's what I said. I look like, what is this? I'm like, there he is. Okay, there's Tyler. Okay, you're showing him, but then what's all this about? What is that?
Man, he would have had a long life too. He's in great shape and
Yeah.
had good hobbies, good people around him.
Like that's the kind of picture you'd use, like
Yeah, exactly. This is Mardi Gras. Maybe that's why they didn't use it. You could crop that picture. Come on.
yeah.
Hmm. This might be a little conspiratorial, but just bear with me. Just curious. This guy's thing pisses me off. His comment pisses me off.
He's got the 52, the 65, reflection of 56. Awesome.
Delta connection. Well, this has nothing to do with this particular guy, but this is where he went to school. Let's see what these numbers are. I'll leave this up there for now. Let's just Frank by itself.
Huh, 206.
Similar to 26, like his name.
Yeah.
Maybe not a whole lot there, but interesting nonetheless. Yeah, this it's well, I won't. I'll laugh at it. And I am curious though. Let's see. I wonder if there'd be any way to find out if he was in any type of society. Might take some more digging, but as
Yeah,
it
because I know
stands,
when my cousin Brandon died, I know they said he was he was like learning to play guitar and he was doing really good and he was like on his way up. Like he was coming up. Like he was, learning instruments and stuff, and like he was only 13, and it's just like boom, and it's just like none of it makes any sense. Then here we go again. Nothing making sense. So
well, that's definitely Yeah, I wouldn't say somber. Obviously you're in relatively decent spirits about it, other than the fact that, obviously it's your family members, and the last thing you want to be doing is trying to decode, deaths real time, and especially, or past uh, deaths. That's not a fun thought, but at the same time, it kind of could be a little bit cathartic to, shine a light to these things. I, for one, am not like extremely sentimental. So, I would, a part of me would rather expose, any wrongdoing if it existed than to just be to cower away because it's a sad subject. So I do appreciate your head in this and how you're able to, hold yourself through finding out. And you might not have known him all too well or even met him, but you know how it works. It's like even a distant friend, it'd be rough to find out that, some something bad had befallen them or anything like that. So I do appreciate your candidness on the topic. And
Yeah, I mean, I was really sad when, especially when Brandon died, because I knew Brandon, I was somewhat close, but it was weird. Like I said, last time I seen him was at funeral, and then like we went home to my place. We're playing, PlayStation 2, I think, and I don't know if I've seen him for like that 2.5 year period. I'm not sure if I've seen him in there. Maybe I did, but like I said, he never seemed suicidal, depressed. He was the coolest person I ever met. Like he was just the coolest dude. So like when he died, I definitely was very depressed, and that was a very rough time, and that was really sad because it's just like I just knew something was. That's what really bothered me about it, just the way they went about it. Like just how like bullshit it just seemed like really stuck out, and it just gave me this bad like vibe, like that happened for like I knew it happened for like some kind of reason, and it's kind of the same thing here because it's like now we start the site, and now we're or the website or the channel, and now we're all of a sudden boom, and then now this has to happen. You know what I mean?
yeah, the coincidences, like I was saying, it's hard to ignore, and it's hard to keep calling everything, a coincidence. Not that I do anyway, but it it becomes, near impossible after a certain point, and once you have enough skin in the game, I'll put it that way. Uh, and it almost like what I feel like is like this is the key to understanding what I mean by this is like gematria and the surrounding, knowledges, if you will, like how to put together dates, times, keywords, obviously the numbers in gematria. Putting these things together, it almost gives you like that like psychic edge that you see that they it's almost like the romanticization that you see on TV when someone's like a psychic. It's or a extremely gifted detective that just like has that like they have that this weird edge that you can't really put a finger on, but they're just like destined to do it. Well, it's like it can make you feel like that sometimes because you can see through, it's almost like you're seeing a whole different cipher. It's almost like the Matrix. It's like everyone's looking at an image, but you're seeing numbers, you're seeing highlighted dates, you're seeing highlighted phrases, you're hearing, certain things that obviously draw correlations to other things, and it's like you're seeing the world through a different language, through a different lens, obviously highlighted like the They Live glasses, very much so. That's the whole reason for that movie, is to basically pay homage to a class of people. I don't know if it's growing or getting smaller, but we definitely need more people in the world that have the glasses on that can, you know, figure out what you want to do with it, but you got to get the glasses on. Like you can take them off and you can, put them on at your leisure. But for the as many people that don't even have the glasses at their disposal, that's something that's got to change. And that's, what I'm hoping to change with you here as well is, you know, between us, the great channels that we follow, and obviously Gematria Effect News, where I think we both kind of got a deeper understanding for this. That's really the key. The key is to open up your mind and be able to see what's truly right in front of you. And once you do, just don't waver. Don't back down from it. I've talked to so many of my friends, well, so many, the few friends I had, and it's like there's no willingness to understand anything. They'll listen to a talking head, but not their friend that's been there for there with them and for them, for however many years. It's There's no self-awareness. It's like if I were to to cut somebody off because of what they said, I would know that. Like, I don't see how I could do that, because I would know every step of the way that well, this is really strange of me. This is really not cool of me. But it's like there's no filter, and they don't realize it either. That self-awareness is just stripped from everybody. Obviously, we could say that it's gotten worse after 2020. But I really hate giving that excuse. I hate it. I hear it all the time, especially when I'm talking with my girlfriend, and because she has to deal with it. She's in, customer service in a way at our restaurant. And so there is that shift in mentality. Definitely. They messed with a lot of heads in 2020. But even before then, it's like there wasn't a whole lot of people that were on par with the message, or even a message that wasn't mainstream. And that's a shame.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I mean, and I noticed that too. And it's like I said, I mean, it's like I've kind of been this, like I said, I've been this way my whole life. And it's like I've always been able to just see things faster than people see things other people can't see. And it's, like I've said before, life's all about, perception. So many people, I don't know, I don't consider myself really that smart of a person, that intelligent. I mean, it's like, I mean, come on, I mean, how can you like we're in this position? It's like if someone showed you this, if you're me or you, and someone showed you what, this, everything we just looked at, how could somebody not sit there and go, wow, that's just the craziest thing I've ever seen? Like, how does that go over your head? You know?
It's definitely, they put words on it. Am I like frozen? Okay. They put words on it, cognitive dissonance and things like that. I don't know why I'm lagging. Oh, can you hear me all right?
Yeah, I can hear you fine.
Okay. I was lagging for a minute there. They put words on it, labels on it, like cognitive dissonance. And, that is true. That is basically what it is. Um, but these psychological terms they put on it, that doesn't really help anybody understand it any better. When we go through it at, like, on a human level, having friends, you know, I internalize all of this stuff, like everything that's happened my pretty much my whole life since my memory has worked. Since a young age, I've been internalizing thing, and it's like you were saying, I don't consider myself the smartest or anything like that. Not even special in the slightest. That's why it's so hard to not like why I can't just accept that people don't latch on to some part of this message. Like, I'm not anything like it was so easy for me. It's like how Kush there's not 98% of people that are just breezing through life. Everybody has struggles. Not to say that my life was the hardest or my life was the easiest, but like just even through the struggles I went through, they opened my eyes to certain other things, and that opened my eyes to certain other things. And I wasn't just walking around with rose colored glasses. And especially in a time like now, especially after COVID, where everybody got to witness what they do, how they do it, they were forced to take part in it in one way or another. We're past that now, sort of, until the next wave comes, and yet they still aren't willing to take that plunge to say, I can, to admit it's not even. I think that is a lot of people don't like to admit that they're wrong, or that they were even missing something. So rather than have any kind of hubris or have any kind of reflection, they would rather just continue to live in a delusion, no matter how someone's just holding up, right in front of your face, the truth. And the truth doesn't have to, the truth is the truth can be vague, but even then, it's not as blurred as the lines are that the media portrays, or you know when you truly realize that you're walking around in a fake world. it's like before you know it, this will be Idiocracy. This will be Children of Men. All these things in media that they've showed you, this is happening right now. You just think it's so silly because a lot of people have the that complex where they think they're the main character. They think, there's something better for them happening right around the corner. They're not going to have to do anything. It's just going to come to them. Or, or they have the exact opposite to where it's like doomer. There's nothing they can do, whatever. And so they go with the status quo, but they're not the ones setting the status quo. And that's no life to live. If you're not the one in control of the status quo, what is the reason for fulfilling it for anybody else? Just to be a drone?
Right. I mean, it's just like I said, it's like why we gotta do an episode talking about what we are. I mean, the fact that it's like it's just like all I had to do was just, I already knew something was up in life. I already knew what was going on, and like, so I just had to do research and just connect dots and just learn information. I mean, that's what I just don't understand. It's like people are never born that way. They never go down that route. It's like, I mean, and I don't understand how it's just people. I just think they either they just can't handle it. They don't want to see it. They you know I mean, how many people we're at these funerals thinking this stuff is real and thinking they don't see all of this, and then I'm sitting here and it's like, wow. And it's just the way you can see parallels and draw parallels, like all the stuff we'll be talking about tonight. It's about little details, why little details matter, little things, why everything is there. I mean, nothing is by chance, dare I say. It's just everything is in a line, everything is in a parallel for a reason, and some people just, if they can't get a hint on something, it's like they can't go after it. I get a hint and then I just go after it, then I attack it, and then I figure it all out. I draw the lines, I draw the parallels, and that's just where everyone else is lacking, or just can't seem to do for some reason. I mean, it's like how we're talking, Nirvana, Kurt Cobain, uh, Thor and death and all this stuff, hurricanes, all these hurricanes right now are for lithium, and Nirvana, it's one of their biggest songs, so now it's, the mockery, everything we're talking about, like I said, just comes back, it's being recycled, it's being reused, and like I said, all this stuff being recycled and being reused, and like I said, it just never goes away, and it's just like the little, I remember the Teen Spirit sticks you used to get in the store, how they had the smells like Teen Spirit sticks.
I've never heard of those.
It was back in the 90s when they came out with smells like Teen Spirit. After Nevermind, they had this little things, and if you write out smells like Teen Spirit, the S, if you just do the abbreviations for it, it's like almost exact gematria match with Kurt. So it's just like, it shows you how they do it, and going over a lot of the deaths, the staging of the death, all these death stages, how everything is being set up, looking at into the Kurt Cobain death scene, the death scene for Kurt Cobain, it's the same exact thing. Everything is, it's just a big joke, and it's like we've been showing in these last so many episodes, everything is just lined up perfectly. I mean, they have everything in a position, everything is there, people don't even realize they're being mocked. A lot of people don't know there's the white lighter. They don't say with Kurt Cobain, there's a lot of times they don't edit, is if you look for it, there's a white lighter in his pocket, and that's supposed to be a 27 club thing. So the white lighter being in the pocket and the 27 club is a very interesting little detail. And that's why, if like when I said I do all the research and I look into this stuff, you'll see why everything is there for a reason. It all adds up for a reason. And really interesting thing, the volume equals 78 and 84, like Jesuit. And what's really interesting too is, for his death scene, they had a Barks root beer, and it's interesting because it equals 65, Foo Fighters 65, Chris Novoselic 65, Danny Goldberg, Nirvana's manager, equals 65. So that Barks root beer ain't there for no reason. It's there for a specific reason. I mean, and it's going to be a Barks root beer. There ain't no other way around it. If you write out even 20 gauge, it equals 49 and 94. You write out
Yeah, I think oops.
Washington 49, never mind 49. Another big thing they say was in the room was the stool. There was the stool that was supposedly wedged against wedged against the door. What's stool equal? It equals 54 and 27. Wonder why that stool was up against or wedged in there like that. And you look at this stuff. Suicide note equals 56. How much high ritual is involved here? All the big ritual numbers. A key detail a lot of people don't know or don't point out is what's interesting to his car. All the tires were slashed or flat on it. It's interesting if you write out slash tire, it equals 49, flat tires 38. Like death, murder, killing, RIP, and Kurt equals 38. And another really interesting connection too is Nirvana equals 110. Like the Twin Towers were 110 stories. The 110-story Twin Towers. And right there, if you write out 110, you got the 11, the master number, as well as you have the 11. So you have the Twin Towers themselves, and you have the 0. 2 towers became 0 before they became 1. So you have such a everything is there for a reason. Nirvana equals 110 for that reason. It's shotgun
I mean, just
model.
the Nirvana suicide. I mean, suicide equaling.
And there's the 9/11.
Yeah.
I mean, it's right there. The 9/11 is right there. I mean, 119, like the day I was born. And even you write out the shotgun model. The shotgun model used was an 1120. 20 minus
Remington.
11 is 9. That's 9/11. So they have specific models to mock you with, with the 9/11. They got to get that in there. Of course, he was born on 220, dies with the 20 gauge. The Remington is the name of the shotgun. Nirvana 47. Remington equals 47. Dave Grohl 47. I mean, specific as specific could be. Cigar box. There was a cigar box there. Cigar box equals 47. Nirvana 47. Dave Grohl 47. I mean, every little detail is there for a very specific reason. Driver's license equals 74. The reflection of 47. That is driver's license there. They had his wallet. His wallet was there as well. Well, you could say that's his wallet right there. Wallet equals 19. There was obviously the heroin 42, like Austin 42, Jesuit 42. And of course, Kurt Cobain had the sunglasses. You got to have those sunglasses because you're Kurt Cobain. He always had those on. And, of course, sunglasses equals 62, the reflection of 26. Of course, Cobain equals 26, God 26, 26 letters in the alphabet. So that's very interesting. The heroin syringes equals 44, like kill, like Cobain. It also equals 46, like sacrifice as well. So, it went into his death, overdosed him and then shot him. Shotgun
That's a
shell.
shot.
Yep, got to get that extra shot in there, like 220.
In the city with the giant needle.
Right. And then you have shotgun shell. Shotgun shell equals 56. I mean, what a number. Paraphernalia 78, like Jesuit. Of course, there was a pen involved with the suicide note. They had to get the pen in there. The pen equals 17, like kill. And then, of course, it equals 46, like sacrifice. Like this was a sacrifice. When he wrote his suicide, he put that pen right through there. They got to get that pen in there. See, every little detail matters. This cigarette lighter equals 94, dies at 94. His winter hat equals 46, like sacrifice. All those little things that were just thrown in that little pile that were put right by his body were put there all for these reasons. I mean, everything that was in the room. Kurt Cobain overdoses in Via Venta. Via Venta, yep, equals 49. How
do you spell that?
VIA
Just like it sounds.
VEN. Yeah, Vento.
Okay. A or no?
And that was at the Excelor Hotel, and that equals 65 as well to go along with all the 65s.
Oh, I must have spelled it wrong. Oops. Do you know how to spell Excelsior?
Um,
Oh, Excelsior Hotel? No. Oh, yeah.
that might be it. Yeah. Just like the root beer 65, got to get that 65 on there.
Damn it.
That's a different one.
Oh. Is that not how you spell it? Shit. Where did I write it? Wait, did I delete it again? Oh, no, I see it. Oh. Was it just Excelsior? That's
Yeah, I think.
Okay. 47,
Yeah.
110, just like Nirvana, Suicide. Now, I wonder if they had plans for that to be the night.
Yeah, and it's interesting. Exodus equals 74, the reflection of 47, and he escaped from the Exodus Center, and Exodus Center equals 54.
I mean, and you think of Exodus being the escape of the was it just Jews or Israelites from Egypt?
Yeah,
That's a story of escape, is the Exodus.
yeah, it's even that. Yeah, I mean, it's just this escape and how there is no escape from the 54. It's all it is the 54, and it's interesting. Rome equals 21, like Jesuit. Of course, that's where all that happened. Like I said, that Exler Hotel with the 65 and the root beer and all those 65s, and then you have that's also the reflection of 56, and then you have as well Rosemary Carroll, the Kurt's attorney in all this, equals 95, and of course he died on the 95th day of the year.
You said
Again,
Rosemary what?
Rosemary Carroll.
Carol. Okay, so there's a Carol in a potential Jesuit plot. Obviously, John Carroll being one of the more famous Jesuits who founded Georgetown, I believe, and he's a very prominent family. Once you start looking into these things, you see Carrolls pop up all over the place.
Yeah, and then it's interesting too. Her Nirvana's last show in Seattle was 3 months before it was January 8th, 94, 3 months before he died. The news came out that he died. So they had even that scripted ready to go. And then like I said, that smells like Teen Spirit deodorant in the store. There's even there's there's like a Gods of Asgard book that I saw in the store back in like 2015ish, maybe 2016ish. And it's got like Cobain on the cover. It's funny on the book, and it's funny because you think Gods of Asgard, God, Cobain, 26, God, 26 letters in the alphabet. So I thought that was really interesting as well. And then of course, grunge equals 27 and
Oh, that's
72.
that's interesting. This is like my son was reading books by this author, like a different series.
Yeah, I saw this in the store back when I was back I said like 2015, 2016. I was like 2021. I saw this. I stopped. I'm like, no way. And then I looked it up and it even said that's supposed to be Kurt Cobain on there. And I thought that I'm
Oh,
like, wow.
there's the author's name, very similar numbers to certain groups. What is the 120? Is that Illuminati? Yeah.
Just like Klaus Schwab 12069, New World Order. What's interesting too, grunge equals 27 and 72, the reflection. So grunge, equaling the 27 club and all the 27s. And that's why you die at 27. Grunge music. If you write out grunge music, it equals 56. All about those 56s in 2020 with the Smells Like Teen Spirit, I Feel Stupid and Contagious. And then you have grunge rock. If you write out grunge rock, it equals 119, like 9/11, the reflection of 9/11, and 56 again.
Prominent numbers indeed. Yeah,
Crazy
I'm gonna have to look into this Rick Riordan guy, because me and my kid, that we kind of make jokes about. We make little callbacks with that guy's name all the time. So that's another little funny thing. That seems to be like books that are like using potential musicians as their pantheon.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen like Kurt Cobain, Nirvana, like I said, like everywhere on a lot of things, and I just that book that day when I seen that was just crazy, and then the God Connection in 26 and all of that, and then it's interesting too if you write out, like Lost in the Sauce, like all the people that are watching MTV Unplugged, they're lost in the sauce. It equals 54. If you write out retain information, it equals 201.
Retain information. Add that to the list. Yes, sir. Good luck. 93, like Saturn, and think of a Saturnian order.
And like I said, lost in the sauce equals 54. It's just kind of interesting that, the Jesuits and all the people that can't see all the 54s and all the 45s everywhere. And
look at Joe Biden at 81. He's definitely lost in the sauce.
Yeah. I mean, all these people and it's just, just how much, like I said, is all of this is for a specific reason, and they have all this, how calculated all of this is. So it's not like, anything is off by a margin. No, it's all there for a reason. That's how, like I said, the fact that people can, the fact that we can actually, do the investigation, we can do the research, we can connect the dots, and we can retain the information. We're not lost in the sauce. This is, why we can, figure this stuff out. And, people could think this is crazy or nuts, but it's like, how can you deny what we've been showing here tonight? Like everything that we've shown just with these two, with all this death symbolism so far. For someone to come in and think that all of this is just, coincidence, it's just, because I mean, you look at this stuff and then it's like, I mean, how much of this stuff, like I said, it's just all being recycled. I mean, like I said, lithium right now, the hurricanes are all about lithium. I mean, how can should people be going, wasn't that a, Nirvana song? Like people should be seeing the mockery like we're seeing.
Can you elaborate a little bit on the lithium situation here?
Yeah, and how it's the mining in North Carolina, and how it's connected with this. And if you write out lithium too, it equals 38, just like Kurt as well. And death, murder, killing, RIP.
Mm. Sure. Yes, sir. And lithium, I heard that is it lithium quartz more specifically? This was in North Carolina, right?
Yeah, I think so.
I'll type in quartz because I think that's what I saw. I'm sure it's lithium. Quartz core. Oh, they're right back up and running. Gotta get that. Those microchips. It's insane what they do. I mean, watch out of this mine become bigger than ever. All the destruction in these areas. Watch this mine bounce back like no other. These are all planned disaster capitalism. This is to a T what they want.
Yeah, I mean,
go ahead.
Yeah, you're 100% right. I mean, and like I said, it's not going away, and they're just going to keep going with all of this. And um,
Look at
so
those
many
numbers.
things people don't realize the parallels to a lot of things as well. And I always thought this was an interesting connection to all of this. And we're talking so much about death and a lot of spooky stuff and in what's with all of this. And I know me and you we're talking, we're talking about, The Ring. We said we were talking about the movie The Ring. We've both seen that movie uh quite a few times. I remember seeing it when it came back out in 2002. Knowing it came out in Washington and Seattle and stuff, and came out when I was 7. It's really interesting, this movie.
Well, the
Uh
connection there also is that it does take partially in Oregon, if I'm not mistaken. They use the Oregon
yep.
coast
Yeah,
for
the
the.
one of the lighthouse scenes,
It's in
one of the
Astoria, I
lighthouse
believe.
scenes is in Oregon. That is interesting. So it does tie us all in. And I always knew there was something to this movie. It comes out in 2002. Lane Staley dies in 2002. So that was kind of interesting. I always thought this came out, 6 months after that. But what's really most interesting about this movie too is the date it came out, which was October 18th, 2002, which is exactly 17 years before Event 201. And of course, that's all about, coronavirus. Coronavirus was the first, you know, started in Seattle, and this movie here, comes out on that day, and it's, in Seattle and Washington as well. Um, and of course, Washington State equals, 84, like Jesuit. um, it's just like why the highways, you have the highway I-5 and I-90 in Washington. If you go 90 plus 5, it's 95.
Mm-hmm.
Because the Jesuits had 95 days left to go in the year, created, and then with Kurt Cobain dying on the 95th day of the year, on the 5-4 connection on 5-4-4-5. And then of course you have, like I said, The Ring itself, the movie equals 45. So there it is right there in your face. And the character, Samara, they use Samara for the movie. And Samara equals 17, like kill, and 46, like sacrifice.
Mm-hmm.
um
Which she is in the movie. Spoilers.
yep. Yeah,
She is
it's
definitely a
just,
sacrifice.
yeah,
I
it's
think
just this
that's also
movie.
the Japanese um, folk story that this is based off of as well. Is the
Yep.
same idea. It has to do with sacrifice.
Yeah, the Ring U and Ring U2, and there's Ring 2 and in
Mm-hmm.
Rings they've also made. But it's interesting too. Samara Morgan equals 49, Reflection of 94, and then like we said, Washington equals 49 and everything. um Devon Chase is her real name in life. Her name equals 56. A big reason why she was picked. When I did research too, it said there was also another actor that supposedly
Oh, I
was
never
playing
picked
that
it.
part. I don't know if they did in the movie, or like it was, maybe they were trying for it but didn't get it. But they did mention another person playing that role. Um, Interesting. Naomi Watts uh, is currently 56 right now. She plays Rachel Keller. Her character name is 110 and 56. Um, so all these 56s, again, going along with like COVID and stuff, and that's what this movie kind of, I'm drawing a lot of parallels with COVID, but there's quite a few interesting connections here with Kurt and other things that tie in, as well. Uh, like 110, like I said, the Twin Towers and Nirvana and everything. And then the Martin Henderson, who plays Noah Clay, he
Okay.
equals 78 and 84, like Jesuit.
What
So
was
there's
Rachel's
another,
name? Sorry, just so I have it up there. I forgot her last
uh,
name.
Rachel Keller.
Keller. Sorry, go ahead. Noah Clay.
Yep. And he equals 38.
And he's murdered. And
Yep. Noah
what did the?
equals 38 as well.
I mean, just 3 out of 4 in the base ciphers.
Yep. And Noah, what's interesting is Noah and Zach and Gold all have the same exact matria: 38, 20, 70, and 16.
Hmm.
really interesting. Found that out. All these exact four cipher matches, not easy to find, but Rachel and, or I knew the Zach and I think maybe the Zach and Noah, Zach and Gold, but it's interesting all those. And then Rachel equals 47 and 34, like Nirvana. I thought that was interesting. 47 to such a number, and then Rachel also equals 29, like Kurt equals 29.
Yeah, I was gonna say Kurt equals 29 as well, and 34. Getting lost in the sauce down here. Did I ever not write Kurt down? Guess not.
Yeah, and if you write out her last name, Keller, it equals 27. Kurt obviously died at 27. So there's these weird numbers here that overlap. And like I said, Kurt equals 70, 16, 38, 29. It's almost an exact four cipher match with Noah, Zach, and Gold. That's almost an exact four cipher match. So a lot of the numbers there just scrambled with Kurt, but that's interesting. It's the 29 instead of the 20, so it's very close. The kid in the movie, Aiden Keller, he equals 47. Another 47. Aiden equals 29, 20,
70.
and 34. So some pretty interesting numbers there. Rachel, 29, 34. Just really interesting numbers. Anna Morgan, she commits suicide in the movie. Anna Morgan equals 44. She kills herself. So it's just this like movie with, you're just like mocked with like COVID and 56. I mean, not necessarily COVID, but again, that Event 201 is no coincidence on there, and 17 and Kill, and how all this is set up. And it's funny, videotape, the cursed videotape. If you write out videotape, it equals 47. If you write out murdered, how Samora comes through the TV and murders people and kills them, it equals 47. It's interesting too. Spirit equals 44, like her spirit kill. She kills people. Cursed equals 38. Cursed 38. It's pretty interesting. Cursed if you watch the videotape.
Yeah, what is, let's see, 7 days with the number is 56, which is what, I always found that odd too. It's like, whose voice is the person on the phone saying 7 days? Is it supposed to be Anna? It's not. It's not what's her face. It's not Samara.
Yeah, maybe that's the other actor in the movie. Maybe that's why they say that's supposedly her call. Maybe that's her part in the movie. I have
I
no
don't
idea.
know. Is it even like a female voice?
It's kind of, I think it is. It's kind of faint, but it's.
I swear it was more masculine. It's like 7 days. Hold on. It's probably just better to Google it. Oh my gosh, I can't type. Just audio. I've got a nice roll Russian. Okay. No, it is. You're right. I mean, that was just a weird thing my brain made up, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, you can just see how much of a mockery everything is. It's interesting if you write out well equals 52, 16, 56, and 20. So there's another 56.
Oh, I won't. I'll keep 7 days up there then. That's
Yeah, just
56-20, just like well.
And then she drowned in a well. Drowned equals 83, 38, 106, and 34.
Definitely popular numbers when it comes to. There's a lot of drownings, and these numbers are all over them in news articles and things you see on TV. Mysterious drowning. A lot of celebrities drowning mysteriously. It's just like, man, people do not know how to bathe. Take showers, people. That moral of the story: start taking showers. I skip baths if if I saw this many celebrities were just dropping dead in the bath. If I was a celebrity, I'd be like, all right, I'm about to get the dry shampoos and just take like a dust baths like a hippo.
Yeah, I mean, I always thought this movie had such interesting parallels, and I think I know, like I said, there's the Ring 2 that came out in 2005, and there's and if you write out Ring 2, it equals 38 and 83 as well.
Yeah. So let's stay
And
here
there's the
for a minute.
110 and the 47. There's the 110 and the 47, so you get all of it right there.
Let's stay here like real time. If we were to talk about, first of all, I have no idea what any of these people, if they're still living or not. This is something we can look up right this minute, actually. But let's just talk about it. I don't know if there's been any deaths from this cast, but if there were, who, based on trends and how they do it, it's rarely the star. The star is not the one dropping dead, after certain, synchronistic movies that they've played in or anything like that. It's rarely the star. It's almost always, it takes a long time for a star to drop dead, like a Sidney Poitier or even like Robin Williams. He had a very long and illustrious career. So it takes a long time as far as like trends go. But like a Martin Henderson, what's he been up to? What's he doing lately? Yeah, I mean, I've seen him in stuff. I understand that he's plays in movies.
Right, and like I said, what's her name? Naomi Watts. She's 56 right now. So,
Yeah,
and you're right.
there could be a ritual, coming up, having to do with this movie, and uh, what you'll see more than likely is somebody in her circle, in her ring.
Yeah.
um,
You
they're
write
gonna be
out
the one
Ring,
to
it's
drop dead.
29. There's so much just, or is not
Ring
29
or
or 24? My bad, I think, or maybe
oh,
Rings, or no, maybe I was thinking something else.
like oh wait, not Jesuit. Well, anyway. Uh, but yeah, let's see here.
Yeah, like you said, all these people in this movie, it's weird how, like you said, it's like this was their big movie scene. Like they did this movie, and then it's just like kind of they're done. But I know the kid. Well, he's just a kid, but he's been in other movies and stuff. I mean, he's
I
been a little bit more.
can't stand. I mean, even what was the parody of Scary Movie? I think it was maybe 3 or 2 that parodied The Ring, but they got it. They understood to get the like most punchable face kid you'd ever want to play these characters, the parodied character, because that's what they did for this movie. This kid is insufferable. How he like there's got to be a million better choices for just somebody to be a somber, out of, weird, autistic, on the spectrum kid. But he just does it in the worst way possible. I can't stand this kid. He makes he almost ruins the movie, which is actually a pretty good movie. I'm not a movie buff. I don't like movies for the most part, but I watched this one quite a few times. This is back in the day when you had to like rent DVDs from the library. But yeah, this kid, I mean, he
Look at his
just
name, Dorfman,
yeah,
David Dorfman.
he's a dwarf too. It looks like
I
this kid.
know.
Oh, oh, never mind. I thought he was saying he was William H Macy's son. Okay, he just played sons all the time. But yeah, this kid is insufferable in his role in this movie. It is absolutely it. Watch it just to laugh at this because he's the worst. He makes you want to jump off a cliff like Anna Morgan.
Yeah, and he's scribbling, drawing out her pictures, scribbling the well, drawing everything up, and it's got that 111. It's got that 69.
Yeah, but check out the Martin Henderson numbers. That's obviously you're going to
Yeah,
see this 177.84. That's like it's an interesting calling card there. It's like
yeah, he's got real interesting numbers.
is anybody going to miss a Martin Henderson? Let me look up his not what he's known for, but like Okay, what he's been doing. Yeah, he's been doing TV series. He was in a weird movie in 2022. So this is a waning career is what they're kind of showing you. You know, he had 54 episodes of Virgin River. A weird number to stop on.
Yeah, I mean everything about these people, it's really kind of this movie just always had an interesting vibe to it. It's always been like kind of my favorite movie, and like you said, I'm not into movies. I don't watch movies. I don't watch TV or nothing. So it's just it's just this movie's always stuck out to me, and I seen it when it came out, and I always knew there was something to it. Then you do the gematria, and these people that chose these names for the movie, well, that's why they chose these names. I mean, these names weren't just just pick a name. No, it's not just pick a name. These names were assigned to these people. That's why they made all this money, to draw this in. That's why it comes out on the same day Event 201 happens. I mean, everything's there, and like I said, there's all like these uh like Kurt connections, Nirvana connections, all these connections, like I said, with, kind of 2020 and COVID.
Yep.
And it's just, there's so many just other connections. It's just kind of like, you just see how they set it up. And then it's, like I said, the timing's interesting too. It's like a year after 9/11. This is kind of, it's kind of an interesting time. I mean, things were kind of still pretty good back then. And then, this movie comes out and it's one of these horror, scary, there's times of terror, the terrorist horror movie comes out, and it's like, and it's supposedly one of the, like I said, one of the best movies or scary movies, of all time. So it's like, this is, all being done for a reason.
And it paralleled the Grudge, correct?
Yeah.
The Grudge
Yeah, it
came
did.
out
And the Grudge
shortly.
had the Grudge too, and there's other grudges,
Mhm.
just like the Ring. So,
And it's also based off of Japanese folklore.
yep,
I'm almost positive. Or at
yep.
least it takes place in Japan. It's something weird like that, right? Or the second one takes place in Japan?
I think
Something
so.
like
Yeah,
that.
the second one does, I believe.
Got the vampire slayer in this one.
Yeah.
She can't lose. Mm. When did this come out? Okay, so this came out a couple years later.
Yeah.
But it'd be interesting to see what all the releases that came out in post 9/11, or because there was only 3 months to the end of the calendar year.
Yeah, and apparently this movie was out earlier. I did research and found out it was out in the summer of 2002, and people were watching it somehow, or it was already being released. It was being made, I believe, like early 2002. It was like early to mid 2002, and then it was out. I know it was like out in like the summertime. Um, and then, like I said, they chose October, 18th, and like I said, it obviously takes place in Washington, Seattle, and then you have Event 201, and then coronavirus takes place in Seattle, and it's all disconnected on all these levels.
Absolutely. And then who stars in the Ring 2?
It's kind of interesting too. We're talking about like how you know um, people are dying and deaths and how they're setting all this up. It's kind of like that same thing with the Ring. Like it never shows you how she really kills them. And
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
you just find them just there somewhere, and then they find their face, and their face is all. I mean, what does she do to you? Like, how does that happen? Like, how does Noah in the movie end up in that chair? The scene cuts out when he falls backwards and you know, he's
Yeah, she
bleeding.
picked his ass up and posed him.
Right. Like, what really happened there? I always want like that's just the biggest, craziest thing. I always wonder, like, well, what really happened? How did he get in that chair? How did his face get like that? Did she put him in the chair? Did she wait for him to get in the chair and then freak him out and then his face just morphed? Or what did she do to him? Like, or did he die right there when he fell, and then she like staged his death and set him in the chair and then crawled back to TV? Did she disappear? Like what's really going on here?
Okay, I do want to pause it a little bit, because about in my let's call them interpretations, because that's what they are. So let's just call it what they are. Um, in my interpretation of the ring, this ring we see here, it represents a portal. Um, Obviously, it represents a portal because dead are able to come through it, and in the same way, living are able to go through it as well. And that in the ring too. Spoiler heavy, guys. Spoiler heavy. I believe it has something to do with her taking her place. Correct? Like I saw it, but I think I only saw the ring too once. I saw the ring several times, like a lot, way too much. But not to say I have a perfect memory on everything in the ring, but it's like basically in my head. Like I remember the whole scene that the fly, you're able to pull it out, it like comes alive even though it's like in the tape. The obvious Masonic clues they're giving you, the ladder, the barn ladder to go to the loft. You see that in a lot of media, the leaning ladder. That's that Jacob's ladder, or it's a iconography of Masonic iconography. Just the idea that it's a well built out of stone. It's built with masonry. Um, there's lots of like factors, but interpretation wise, I've come across a more the mysticism behind these symbols that you see, and almost always when it has to do with like a circular ring of this type of nature, what I've seen is the figure, the feminine. There's almost always a feminine figure attached to these stories as well, and in my opinion, it represents Mary, who it's. This is something I have to have. Like I said, I need a whole episode probably to go over this with you. It's pretty fascinating what I found, but it represents a feminine, a divine feminine. In this instance, it's, I believe, the star. It's Rachel, which when you also keep in mind Rachel is a biblical name. It's the wife of. It's one of the first, named people, like inhabitants of Earth, according to post a Garden of Eden. I know Rachel's somebody's sister or something like that. I need to re up on my my Bible thumping, but it's a biblical name, so it has that connotation. And when you see these portals, what you're going to find is that a woman almost always goes through them, and that, in my opinion, through my research, represents a heavenly creature coming down to earth, because I believe that is what happened through my um, research, is that Lucifer was not the only angel to pass through said portal. And whether, I'm not sitting here saying this is what happened. I believe in all the religion and all that stuff. This is what I'm saying is there is a story that's an archetypal story that's behind a lot of the iconography that you see and the symbolism that you see. And there's a overarching theme that I think has to be met, like certain guidelines have to be met. But so like the ring would be the guy, like the circle and the female. Those are the two things that they have to stay true to. Everything else can be how they want to tell the story, and that's the art behind a movie or a song or a music video. Whereas as long as they depict the woman going through the portal, it's a dog whistle to all that know of the secret occult symbolism behind that, and they can then appreciate how they tell that story. But if you don't know the story to begin with, you just think it's a new take on, you just think it's another lady going through, through the hula hoop or hula hooping, or going down the well, or so on and so forth. And my lens that I see this a lot through is music and music videos. That's where I kind of was awakened to it. But you see it in all forms of media. These ritualistic symbolism, and in my opinion, that is kind of the basis for the what something what something has to have in order to make it, like in order for it to pass inspection, if you will, from the Hollywood elites or the music elites. That's what has to happen, is they have to meet a certain criteria of hidden symbolism. And that's why it's such a joke to us, oh, you got the illuminate, oh, he's doing the whole, it's, people just take it as a joke, but what it is it's, I think they're like little symbols saying, hey, check this out. We're only going to see the doing the Illuminati triangle, and we're not going to see, the lady going through the hole. We're not going to see that as the actual story behind the music video or the movie or whatever. But that, we can have that as a much longer discussion, but just want to know your take on that. What are your thoughts on like iconography, hidden iconography, and hidden symbolism, and how they use it in media? And or I'm sure I'm positive you're well versed, especially in probably some areas of music that I'm not. I was never into grudge. I wasn't even into Nirvana when it was like playing when I was younger. I caught up a little bit on some of their songs, but I'm nowhere near close to their discography in my head, whereas I am with all the music that I've kind of grown to like. So have you noticed any kind of symbolism, any repetitious things that are worth noting?
I mean, and just like in the movie The Ring, it's, you bring up so many good points. There is so much, like wonders of the world to this movie. I mean, the curse, then you watch the videotape and all these things happen to you, like you've seen it before, like a deja vu, and it's kind of, there's a lot of different angles they have with this movie, just the whole tone, the whole setting. It's kind of that, it has that Kurt Cobain in it, you know what I mean? It's kind of that dark Seattle. It's got that really, I like
It's
the movie for
raining
that
the whole
reason.
movie, isn't it?
Pretty much. I mean, and
I
it's
think
just
it
like,
is.
and just the way everybody is in the movie. I mean, you just, the way they act, and it's just like this, it's a very interesting, it's just got this like eerie kind of feel to it, and it's kind of like life, it's kind of like what's going on with us everything right now. We're wondering how these people are dying, and then Rachel, she's investigating, right? So she's researching like us, right? So she's trying to figure all of this out, and that's the point of the movie, researching. She's going, what is she doing in the movie? She's researching constantly, right? She's reading books like you had to do. There wasn't smartphones back then. There wasn't YouTube. So um, and YouTube just came out after Ring 2. I think it came out in like November of 2005, and then I think Ring 2 came out just before that, or early before that. So yeah, I mean, there wasn't all the stuff we have now, and people couldn't so it shows you, like, you go back, you watch this, it came out in 2002. Like I said, it's being made like early to mid 2002, so you just see what life was like back in that time. And like you said, there's so many references to so many things, the curse, and then the people that watch the tape, and then if you go after you watch the tape and then you look at your face, and you'll see it, and people's faces are all scribbled out.
In the
People's faces.
reflections,
Yep, the
and
reflections
anything
when
that
Noah
shows
goes in
their
the
face. Yeah.
yeah, when Noah goes in the gas station, and then he looks up at the camera, and then he's like, freaks out. He's like, what? And he waves his hand at the thing like he can't believe his face is all blurred out.
Mhm.
And then Rachel in the beginning is showing him, and he's taking pictures and stuff, and then she's trying to convince him. Like we're trying to convince people, you know what I mean? There's kind of that angle as well. There's like, this is so crazy, I got to show you this. And it's like this videotape. It's like, what is that? Well, all these people that are watching it are dying. Are you catching on? They're dying 7 days after they watch it. And when they take their picture after, their face is all, messed up. And then when Samara comes through the well and kills you, your face is all messed up. You know what I mean? It's kind of, there's a theme here, and it's like, and then there's like this whole parallel of this, all these little weird things that happen in the movie. There's always some weird moment, somebody's seen something before, or there's these little significant acts. I can't remember if there's something in the beginning or end of one of these movies where they maybe show a symbol or a sign or something, but there's a lot of interesting things throughout the movie, with the deaths, because at the beginning when they show that, like, the what's her name dead in the closet, they're like, I saw her face, and it's always, they don't really show much of it. It's always these close, it's like at the end they barely show his face when she turns him in the chair. They barely show her face. I mean, it's like the horror. It's like you can only see it for like a split second. When you do, it's like, oh my god, and then you're just left wondering what really happened here, what's really going on, and the fact that there's this curse, and like you said with the phone call, how she calls you on the phone, and it's every 7 days, and every 7 days it's 7 days equals 56, and um how these curses, these and how Rachel has to break the curse. She's the one to do it, but then Noah has to die. So it's like there's the sacrifice angle, and
Yeah,
then
Noah is another biblical name, obviously, and yeah, it's another thing you start to notice is the Bible has a lot of names, so I guess if you were to say everything's biblical, it's just like, but yeah, to your point, it's almost as if why they're dead like this. Do they ever explain why they do die like this?
no, and I've always wondered what happens. I mean, like I said, it doesn't show you in the ring what she does, how these people die, how they get like that, where they get, like, and everybody dies differently. If you actually, there was other ways people died. When in the beginning, when Rachel's going through it, all the people that watched this, some were dying in like car accidents and stuff, or other ways. So I'm not sure if Samara's getting them that way, or they I don't know what's going on with these other people. And then it's like, and if maybe a freak accident or something else weird doesn't get you, or something else, or these weird things that are happening around you all the time, how you're noticing it, then, well, she's just going to get you on the seventh day, and she's just going to finish you off. It's like, uh, and like I said, you're just left with, it's like Rachel, she's trying to figure this out. The whole movie, she's trying to figure all this out. She's trying to figure out why these people are dying, how they're dying, what is all this. She goes through it, she watches the tape. All of this is happening in her life. So she has to go through all the things they're setting her through. And like, it's so disturbing, that weird one where they're like puking up that string, and they're like pulling it out of them with I don't know what that is, when they that scene where like they take a drink, and then all of a sudden they start choking, and there's like this big thing they
It's
just
like,
pull out of their
isn't
throat.
it like, is it black?
It's black. It's got like something on it too. I don't know.
I think it's hair, right?
I think it is. I don't know if that's supposed to be her hair. It might be.
Maybe. This might be tough to look up in just images. Oh, probably The Ring as well, not Ring. So smart. Thanks, Google. Or is it just like choking up?
Yeah, I'd say choking. Yeah.
Pulls an old electrode out of her throat. Let's see if that has an image. Yeah, that's just gross. Huge nasal mucus. Okay, thanks.
And then when she's watching the video too, she gets that bloody nose.
That's unskippable.
There's the bloody nose all of a sudden, and then there's the fly on the screen. Then she's like, oh my god, is that thing really there? And then she grabs it, and it, like, oh
Because
my
it's
god.
in the video. In the
Right.
video, there's a fly, which when you think about it, it's like, how was this? See, that's the whole other thing too, is it's like the video doesn't make sense. You can't edit a video. I mean, that they go over that, in that's literally one of the first things they go over,
Right.
is the fact that it's
Right.
like, it can't have been doctored. It is what it is. It's exactly showing what it would have shown, because this is like real to real. It's not like some sophisticated technology or like a digital format. Yet it's like edited and thrown together. It's mystical in nature, the way that it cuts the scenes together, and how there's a fly flying around on, like, you see the fly landing not on the lens. Like it's not like the legs are landing on the lens. That they're landing like on nothing in the video. And then when you look closely at the video, it is a real fly. It's like, what the hell? So that was always interesting too. But just that whole scene. Let's see if I can bring that up. The ring.
Yeah, and then as soon as she grabs it, then that bloody nose, her nose bleeding lady comes around the corner. She's like, "Oh, you got a bloody nose." And then she's like, "Oh," she wipes her face, wipes her nose. It's bleeding.
Which is also just kind of funny with it being a Japanese story, because that's just like popular in Japanese like video movies and anime and stuff. They always getting bloody noses.
Yeah.
I doubt it's connected. It's just kind of funny that a Japanese person, I think, had influence in this, or it was a Japanese director. There we go. Hopefully we get audio. If not,
The water. That's like birth right there or something. There's the chair. The chair then spins upside down and shit. That's a
yeah, it
weird.
goes crazy.
It's a really weird video. Then she's like
Mhm.
sees her in the mirror. She's like looking at you.
A mirror. There's another portal.
Yep, there's the portal right there. Then she sees her through the portal. Let me see. There's
Steve.
the fly.
You see what I mean? The fly's flying like on the out. That's like
Yeah,
an impossible. You would have to be videotaping the video to see the fly on, crawling on the screen that way.
yeah,
It's so like right off the bat, don't they even talk about that? How this is like a video of the video? Or
yeah,
like she thinks it must be?
yeah. Because in the beginning too, there in that scene where he's like, "Well," she's like, "How did this get recorded?" Or he's like, "How did this get recorded?" He's like, "There's." He's like, there would show, what this was to record this. How would they have done this? It would show that. But he's like, there's no fingerprints here. There's no way.
Yeah, there's no
And then
like
she asked, she's like, how could it be recorded? And they have a guitar, like kind of a grungy scene set up in that apartment. When they walk in the door, there's like the guitar and like, there's like a grungy setup.
yeah, he has like a bachelor pad loft where he
Yeah,
just like does like digital recording and stuff like that.
yeah. So there's that kind of music symbolism there too.
Not to what I was going to say is, let's put first of all, his death scene was gruesome, right? Well,
Yeah,
let's just look at his character. What's his name in it? Noah. But is that not Kurt Cobain?
right.
It's at least a little bit.
It is. I always thought that too. He's got the blue eyes. He doesn't have the blonde hair, but like that's like a Kurt Cobain shirt. Even I mean, look what he's
But like
wearing.
yeah, that's what I was thinking too. Just kind of the loose fitting. This is like maybe a better representation of his of something. But anyway, yeah. I mean, Kurt slicked his hair back too.
And
It's very
Rachel's not like Courtney Love, but I mean, she's got, she's that typical blonde, she's decent looking and stuff. And then she's, and then there's him. So there's kind of that connection there.
But I mean, that could be some part of the mockery as well.
I
Is
think so.
you never get to see anything with Kurt Cobain's death. You see like what his shoe and like his arm where it has that tattoo. Okay, I guess presenting proof. And then they give you this to be like, yeah, let me fill in the blanks of what he looked like after you blow yourself. What if you did stick a shotgun in your mouth and blow your brains out with a high caliber, what is it, buckshot? It might look like this. This might be what that would look like,
Right.
especially if you held the gun out of your mouth, not to say you're deep throating the gun, but you're holding it like out, outside of your mouth before letting it go. This might resemble something like that. So it's all that's a interesting kind of aspect of it.
There's a lot of sevens too, because you got, like I said, kill equals 17, and then Kurt Cobain 27, the 27 Club, and then you die in 7 days. So there's a lot of sevens as well.
What
And then
is
yeah, the whole face. I mean, it's like with Kurt Cobain, because they just like how Courtney Love had, she made when she said that, oh, Kurt Cobain's missing, she made it in her mother's name, Wendy O'Connor, Kurt Cobain's wife. It wasn't even her. It's just like when all the stuff they were playing in news saying that, oh, Kurt Cobain, the devastation of the shotgun, how bad the shot was, and then when they tell you the story, when they go in there in the greenhouse and find him, his face wasn't badly damaged, or all they said it wasn't too bad for a shotgun, for what you would think with a shotgun. It wasn't, the damage wasn't that bad. He was still recognizable, but there was the bullet wound and stuff and whatever. But it's kind of the same thing here. I mean, you
Did they
see that Noah. I mean, that's Noah, but what happened to his face? It's kind of the same thing. It's like the face. And
they leave a lot up to the imagination, which you'll find is a trope. That is what ruined movies for me. Let me just go on a little bit of a diatribe of why I don't like movies. There's certain movies that like laud themselves as mysteries. So like take the M. Night Shyamalan movies, and there was a couple, that really piqued my interest. They were like back-to-back magician movies, the Illusionist, and what was the other one? It'll come to me. I think it's another like the name, but the other one has like Christian Bale and Hugh Jackman in it. But they came out around the same exact time, but they're both like the same premise. There's like magicians, which are like, real life magicians, like they have acts and stuff. One in both of them, there's like competing magicians in a way. And in one, there's only really one magician, but he still ends up competing with another like guy for this chick. And in the other one, it's just like two competing magicians. Point being is they're like a lot of themselves as like, as mysteries. Is like the average person probably wouldn't figure out what's going on by the end of it. But it's like certain movies like that. And this isn't tooting my own horn or anything. I view it as a curse. Not that I want to consume a bunch of like media and movies and everything like that. It's just that I can't watch movies. It's like, first of all, my mom, who had like a Blockbuster membership, she would tell me to leave because I can't just sit there and just like know what's going to happen and not say it. So I would just be telling her what's going to happen, and then it would happen 10 minutes later, and she'd be like, "Just go, leave. I want to watch my movie." And so, but like, when you understand tropes, and this is before I was like on any kind of truth train or any like occult knowledge or anything. This is when I was in high school. But certain movies like this it's like the trope being like that the quick death scene, the not seeing a death scene, certain things like that, like the certain things that happen to like the female, if it's a free female protagonist, or there's certain tropes that you realize they overuse these tropes in movies. And once you catch on to the trope, it's like, it's almost sad. It's just like, oh, okay, so that's what they're gonna do. And then by the end of the movie, when they do it, you're just like, okay, that sucks that I already knew based on like something that they like feel like they have to do every movie, and they'll do it, and then I'll know, and I'll be like, okay, I guess I'll watch it to see if it's not what they do, but they always do it. There's several of these. I wish I could give a better example off the top of my head, but there's just several tropes that they use in the industry, and it makes it really hard to get engaged in any kind of movies. I mean, there's like all of the M. Night Shyamalan movies. The Village. It's like, if you're fooled by The Village, which, have you seen that?
I think I might have seen it.
It's like where it's like in modern day, but they frame it to where it's like this like early 1900s, late 1800s like community with like a blind chick who's like the main protagonist chick, who they treat it as if it's like they have to make sacrifices, basically. Very biblical. They got to paint their door in order for to show that they're have made their sacrifice. I can't remember the exact thing they have to do, but they have to do something and then paint their door to show that they did it, and they won't be visited by these like demon things that come around, but it's just the villagers dressed up as the demons, and it's like a modern day guy's take. He had like an initial group of people start this village with him, and then they had children, and those were the first brainwashes. Basically, it's sick because it tells you that you're only one generation removed from having a soldier that knows nothing other than what you teach them. And that is technically what a parent is. And that you see the evil that can come out in, generation kids nowadays, or, that comes from how their parents raised them. And it's the same, if you have these kids growing up in test tubes and not knowing any other life other than what they're being told, that, what if you raised a kid told them that, all the other people around them are fake, their blood is fake, you're the only like real person? Would you have any like care to see anybody die? Would you care killing another fake person? That's what I think, it has a lot to do with these like super soldier type people that are, MK Ultra brainwashed into committing heinous acts, because I don't think it's necessarily just a trigger word like Zoolander and they'll just go into kill mode. I think that's part of it, but I think a lot of it is like from the moment they've had memory, they've never had a care for what they know as human life. They're considered different people. Anyway, that was a long, long branched off thing, but
Yeah, and I think another interesting component to the movie is like dreams. Like, what are dreams? Like when they're when she's dreaming, and then she's dreaming of Samara, and then she looks, Samara grabs her hand, or she grabs her arm, and then when she wakes up from the dream, there's
she has
the
that burn.
handprint on her hand. uh and then all like the burn symbolism from the video, all that, like all the stuff in the video, all those like things, the burning of the tree, the burning tree, the leaves of the tree on fire.
Religious.
Yep, by the sun there. They got to get that sun shot in there. Um, a lot of interesting things too. Just little details like how in the movie, like when it starts to like uh when the lady is talking in the classroom there, they're in the school, and Aiden's in there, and then she's like, um or she just died, just saying, oh, she just died, and then well, the teacher's like, well, Aiden drew these last week. Like,
Mm-hmm.
Aiden drew these before then. So there's like that foreshadow. There's a lot of and like Aiden is like the telepath. Like Aiden's like, he's getting the signs, through his whatever she's showing him. And then Rachel's, learning on the go, and then Noah's kind of learning on the go. And um yeah, and then just like Noah's like he's kind of that somewhat Kurt Cobain character. I mean, he kind of has that look. He's got the hair, and then he's, like, I think when they're in the, I don't know if that's the first ring or the second one, where they're in the basement and the lights are going off when when he's researching in the basement, looking all that stuff up, and the lights are going dim. Then he gets, uh, or if that's Rachel, I can't remember if that's Rachel in this one, or if that's him. But then they're doing, like I said, they're both doing this research. They're going on this hunt, and then there's all these, dramatic events that, keep happening. So it keeps, um, it's like, well, what is all of this? They're going to these lighthouses. She's trying to get all this information. She's, trying to get to the bottom of what this is. And they're on the ferry. They're on that ferry when the horse jumps off, and
Mm-hmm.
then the horse chases her, and then the black horse, and then he jumps off. He gets killed on the ferry.
Heavy symbolism.
Yep.
Obviously the horses of the apocalypse. They list them all out in Revelations, like what they look like. But there's the pale horse, and then there's the black horse, and they go further into that too, because like, isn't there like some like evil messed up thing that I would assume it was like Samara's friend on their farm that they lived on, but didn't they like kill her horse? And isn't that kind of what that blood rushing out of that water scene is all about?
Yeah, the horse is dying. Yeah. I mean, there's the suicide too, because Anna Morgan kills herself. So she, and then it's in the video too when she's leaping off the edge. So there's so much weird. It's like over dramatic with the death, but it's like it's all the numbers are there, so you see why they're doing it. But it's like, and a lot of the movie it is like question. It's like you're wondering, okay, what's really going on? It's like when Rachel goes to the cabin. I mean, look how freaky the cabin looks. I mean, they go to this cabin, where all these people are going, and they're watching that videotape, and it's the way that's set up. And then in the beginning, there's that card scene. He's like, pick a number or pick a card, and he's like, that's your card or whatever with the lucky number or whatever. So and then she looks over and sees the black videotape just sitting there on the rack. Just that one's just sitting there right there. All the other ones are put away and stuff, but that one's just chilling right there. And then she knows exactly what to go, pick up and take to the cabin. There's cabin 12. That's what it was. Cabin 12.
12. We can see what that equals.
Or maybe try cabin 12. Something of that. 44. There you go.
That's the 46. Yeah, I mean, those are always, I mean, that's the thing. It sucks that I don't like movies now, because I bet, I'd have a blast rewatching a lot of movies with, the lens I see things through now. Because literally, I have stopped watching pretty much almost all media for quite a few years now. But whenever I do catch something on TV, or not that I have TV, but see something, I can't help but notice, their calling cards. But let's before we get too long-winded, let's try to finish this out so we can, anybody who hasn't seen it or wants to relive it, they can finish this up. I'll rewind it just a little bit. There's Steve. We all know Steve.
Yeah, the guy, and then he commits suicide in the bathtub too, kills himself, electrocutes himself.
So is this the guy that Rachel goes and talks to?
Yeah, the guy that kills himself. Yeah, I don't know if that's him,
it's
though.
showing like future things. It like when
his
this
face
would have been
looks weird. It looks like I don't know if that's him or not, because there's like it looks like hair or so. I can't. It's kind of a weird picture. I didn't know who that was either. But then she sees that picture. I don't know if that's him in the house or who that is.
Like just that. It's like
right. What
there's
is
also
it's so satanic. Like it's like over satanic.
Very much so. Thank you for saying that. These things are like, whether or not they're trying to, convey some type of story in anything, it's like this is more than likely real. Like somebody, got probably paid to do this. Either the odds that they made a extremely lifelike prosthetic in 2002, before then, really, because they would have been filming this and making this, is highly unlikely. So they had somebody, a real person, regurgitating this thick twine and just being, seeing there's really, it's just like, you can't have a story without that. Without this image, we'd be struggling to understand something. No, they throw this kind of stuff in there because they're sick, demented people.
Yeah, and she's murdered, thrown on the well. I mean, you get strangled and thrown on the well. Finger, what the fuck is it's so just fucked up. That doesn't happen. It's so weird that they put that in there, because there is no like I don't think there is finger situation like that in the movie. Or what that represents.
I mean, a lot of these images, I feel like, are really just there's no good thought that can come of it in your head, and what they're doing is like setting the tone for you to be freaked out and weirded out, and like screeching on a chalkboard, how that, there's no getting around it. Nobody's like loving that sound, just like this might be one of the most, one of the worst things you could possibly see. Let's see here. Where was it?
Yeah, it's
Somewhere.
just so overly fucked up.
Yeah, that. Like,
Yeah,
who could possibly want to see that
right.
or think about that? Not to mention that's a nail going through flesh, very biblical. A nail going through a nail. Any,
Yeah,
get one more nail in there, you got triclavianism in it to a T.
yeah.
But I mean, not it's a square nail too. This is an old nail. This isn't some new nail. These are nails that they used to hand weld or hand forge. So it's like there's so much symbolism here. Maggots.
Yeah.
And then see if this isn't the Sea of the Dead, then what else is? This
Yeah.
is, the dream. This is like when you die. This is Styx, the river Styx to a T. They show it to you in Lord of the Rings. They like to show this in a lot of different media. But what do they think of us? What do they think of us? Maggots.
The centipede, yeah.
Yeah,
The
a
horse.
goat. Was that a horse? I'm pretty sure that was a
That was a
goat.
horse. That's the horse side. And then I think, yeah, whatever was.
That's a horse eye, but that was a goat.
Yeah.
And that's,
And there's the
it,
eye, the all-seeing eye symbolism, the eye.
yeah, just the one eye symbolism. This, I think horses have like some of the largest eyes of any animal too. Just
Yeah.
an interesting fact. But you can tell it's a horse too because he's looking out of the stable, which also can almost represent looking like a prison, which is I'm sure what horses do think. It's
Yeah, the
like, damn,
all-seeing eye.
I'm this
The all-seeing eye
I'm
and all
this
the 56.
powerful, like next to none type of animal. Like I think Americans take for granted what a horse is because it's one of our animals. You know what I mean? Like we don't have tigers. We don't have. I mean, pumas are pretty impressive, but as far as like large animals, it's just domesticated. It's just a horse, bruh. Horses are like worldwide top 5 animal. Not even having anything to do with what they can do for a human. Horses are insane. Horses are
Yeah.
so cool, and it's so sad that we've reduced them to what they are.
And if you write out horse, I think there's symbolism there too. If you write out horse, I think it equals 29 or something. I can't remember, but I know horse has some interesting gematria. And I know horses are such a big part of the movie.
Oh, I'll take a look at that after this. But I mean, the burning tree, burning bush,
Right.
which, they say bush, but I believe it was, I think, potentially a Joshua tree that the scholars will say that was the burning bush. So potentially a tree biblically. This encapsulates what I'm talking about. The mirror is, first of all, let me just put this in your head. Mirror. Okay. Now go listen to your music just with the thought of mirror in your head and tell me how often you will start hearing mirror. The word mirror. It is in way too many songs. They reference mirrors in so many songs. It is that might be the little catalyst I need to like spark your thinking. So when I talk to you about when we have the episode, maybe we'll have a freestyle episode coming up where because I definitely want to get my point of view out there because it is a succinct point of view with a story and a beginning and an end and everything. And I'm way too excited to talk about it to the people I know. They're all sick of it. But I've also kind of like spoiled music for them because it's everywhere. But keep in mind, mirror. Don't worry about the esoteric thoughts of it, just the word. And that's one of the key words that shows up for me that kind of woke me up to this thing. But I mean, there's no one filming.
Right. And that's what he brings up to in the movie. Like, how is this being created? There's no way this movie could be created. There's no way this videotape can get created. He's like, it has no fingerprints. There's no, was this a camcorder? Was this, a video camera? Was this a videotape? Was it, what kind of camera? Where did this come from? There's none of that. And it's just this weird, satanic movie that doesn't really make any sense, but just gives you all this imagery to look at.
Speaking of, there was a song I liked, and it's been like almost scrubbed. I swear I found it instantly, but when I watched it, but they didn't have a music video for this song, but they had like a fan made video, and I ended up clicking on it, and it was dude, it has nothing but questions. It's just like, where did they film this? Why did they film it? What organization filmed it? It was very strange, and it was to a song called Banana Ripple, and it was just the weirdest. If I find it, I'll play it for you. But I remember looking for it again. I think it was to show my son, because he ended up liking that song as well. And I was like, dude, look what I found about this song. It's like, it's not the. I have my theories about these fan made videos too, but it was very strange. Like the pacing was very similar to this. A lot of strange characters doing strange things, and I don't think it's for nothing. There we go.
The upside down,
it's not
the
even
chair.
in a. What was I remember? Okay, it's a barn ladder, but where the hell are we in this? Are we on the outside of the world? Is this Tron? What
And
is
the
this?
upside down is, as above, so below. The chair spinning upside down. You have the upside down world symbolism right there.
Mm-hmm. And of course, get the barn ladder completing the Jacob's ladder. But where are we doing this? Is this the cube? Very strange. This is something I didn't retain. I didn't retain information on this. Like, I mean, look at this split. This is like there's the shadow doesn't go into this split because it's like pure light behind there. Very strange.
And time equals 47, and they all die at the same time when they're doing that's all like 10 a.m. or
Yeah,
10
because the
p.m.
clock's always like.
Yeah, all the deaths are reported at the same exact time. All these people are dying at the same exact time in different ways, car accidents or falling, whatever it is. So it's like, and it's all based on the time and the date. And
because they're like compelled to watch it. It's like
yeah,
they're drawn to the video to watch it at a specific time, so that 7 days exactly later they die at that specific time. It's kind of foreshadowing the coast.
yeah. Suicide.
I mean, it kind of brings like Castaway vibes,
Yeah.
because how he thinks about committing suicide off of the lone tree on that cliff
And then she puts
overlooking
her
the
arms
ocean.
out like a big cross, like a big T, and she's going off the edge.
Mm-hmm.
Ladder
There's,
falls.
they're showing you phases of the moon
Yep.
eclipse. Jump scare. Oh yeah, you're right. Cabin 12.
Yep. Like the Seahawks 12.
I mean, but
Fan
that's
12.
another trope that's overused too. I mean, you could look at Cabin in the Woods as a parody movie. I think it is technically a parody movie. As it has its own type of themes, but aren't they play off of every other type of horror movie, because like that's the basis for the Cabin. It's like an amalgamation of all the different types of horrible things that can happen when you venture out into the unknown, basically, and it's all condensed into a cabin in the woods. And it's like that because there's movie after movie after movie, horror movies about a cabin in the woods and the spring breakers. It's like, how many can we get and do we need? There's no way you can tell this in a different way that I'm going to be interested, or yet they just keep coming out, and it's just like they have an infinite budget for these things. ridiculous. But yeah,
Yeah,
to your point, just extremely, occultic, satanic, and take it with a grain of salt. I don't think when you say satanic, I don't know your religion, faith, or lack thereof, to ultimately, but when we say satanic, it's not even to say that we, or personally, I guess, to say that I endorse the idea of Satan being even a real entity. Although I do have my own beliefs, like I said, we'll have to get into it in a super show. But what we mean is just like there's a certain like threshold. There's a certain threshold they got to meet in order to to be. They have to be a certain level of intense, a certain level of evil, a certain level of degenerate, to kind of it kind of like shows their true colors of it's putting the common person into a terrible mindset. Like I was saying earlier, there's no good thought you could come out of watching The Ring. It's not like you were like, wow, what a great movie. All right, coming out of going to catch this as like a matinee and just coming out during the daytime and just be like, oh, we should go get some frozen yogurt. That's not those kind of vibes. I guarantee the people that watched this had a terrible 7 days after that. You know what I mean? Their minds were altered by these images. That's what they're there to do. This is psychological warfare. This is terror.
Yeah, and like I said, how you all that symbolism, like you go back, you look at the people and their faces. Who scribbled all those faces? They look at the face; it's all scribbled out. It's not just people taking a picture. You see your face and then it's all messed up. Who's going out and scribbling all those faces out on those magazines? How are their faces when they look at those people? Who's doing that? You know what I mean?
Yeah, you leave with more questions than answers for sure. Um, to the point where I do kind of take this movie as really just a dog whistle to occultic circles that are going to praise this movie for their use of quote unquote art in order to depict an overarching theme, a story behind it. I mean, we were talking about what about this movie isn't biblical? Noah and Rachel are the main characters. I mean, you got the burning tree, you got um I mean there's so much, and when you realize that, masonry, you know, they get they derive their religion because don't believe what anybody says. They have a religion. They try to say that it's their own, but it's really it's not necessarily an amalgamation of the three Abrahamic religions, but they use that as a basis, especially the Christian Bible, as a basis for how they operate, what their rituals that they perform, and down to the reasoning for their actual um, initiations. There there's things that have to do with um it's like the satanic version of the Bible. It's not to say that they are Satan worshipers, but as an entity, what Satan represents to them is the good guy. First of all, he's the misunderstood. He's you look at all the anti-heroes nowadays that are being pushed in front of our face. Like, where is the like overarching like good guy hero? There is like we get one every so often, and they're never you know popular or anything like that. But people can always get behind like the Deadpools and the I don't know, that thought kind of fizzled in my head for a second, but I know in my head what I'm talking about. There's definitely like a bigger emphasis on these anti-hero characters that are, technically more, immoral, and they don't have any kind of like morals that they uphold, good morals that they uphold, and they end up serving, you know, the negative sides of things more than they ever serve the positive things. And they'll slap on some humor to to kind of take the edge off. But at the end of the day, we're sitting here venerating these these evil people and these evil ideas that are only thinly veiled. If you have any knowledge on how they operate, you can spot it a mile off. I mean, they leave their calling card all over the place in media. Like we just saw this a movie within a movie that was nothing but satanic and Masonic.
Yeah, and this movie is, the whole thing with this movie, it's just so eerie too. It's just this eerie movie. It's just like you said, it's not like a normal movie. This isn't, your normal regular movie. You're gonna, this is gonna be funny, or this is gonna be, you know, really like, you know, into this, or it's gonna be action packed. This is like, what am I watching, kind of, because it's like you see these scenes, and then it's like,
See what I mean? You're 100% right. Like, look what they do. It rains the entire movie. I thought I remembered that being correct. But yeah, every scene was dreary,
and just
gray rain.
downpouring too. They when they designed this movie, they showed how they did it. They used extra water. They wanted you to really get like this wet feel. There's so much water. Like I said, the guy at the farm who commits suicide, she goes to the farm, and then she brings up, she talks about her daughter Samara, and then he's just, and then she leaves, and then she comes back, and then he ends up committing suicide in the bathtub, and it gets electric himself in a bathtub, more water, and then the drowning, and then there's all this water symbolism. And I thought at the end of the movie too, when they show Noah, when Rachel comes in, because it's a really weird scene. She's Russian, she's on her way there, and you know she knows something's up, and she knows, something's bad, and she walks in, and it's just like there's water all over the ground. It's just soaking wet, and he's in a chair, and I thought he didn't he have like earmuffs on, their headphones or something. Do you remember that?
I
I thought
think
they're
I think because he was
because he didn't have those on when she came through the TV, and he fell down.
I don't think he had him on in his like death image, but I think he did like in the scene before because he
Because
was
she
like
walks up
watching
behind
something.
him. Yeah, because she walks up behind him in the chair, like,
Yeah, he
what is
turns
up?
around. It's a swivel chair, and
Yeah.
he like turns around because he like notices the I think maybe the sound of the dripping water out of the TV.
Yeah, because
But
when he's sitting there, it's like too, when your TV goes haywire, you get the scribbles. It's funny too, because the name of our channel is, UTTTV, and she comes through the TV, and all the
I even
TV
got that.
symbolism. Yeah,
I put that as my background. That's an accident. I forgot that we were going to talk about the ring, honestly. And obviously I made this, a week and a half ago.
yeah, and the scribbles on the TV when the TV's getting weird. Yeah, this scene. The ring. We've all seen that screen
And that's
before.
and like, man, this guy's got a
There's the
sick
guitar
mom.
right there. The guitar by the TV.
I wonder what the skunk means. Do you see that?
Yeah.
I think there's a skunk right here. Black and white. Masonic.
I mean, he's
Wouldn't be,
wearing Cobain clothes.
yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if like there's a Nirvana shot somewhere in one of these.
Yeah.
Looks like they're obviously like rock bands. Like he is a musician. Those blinds aren't doing a whole lot of good, are they?
No.
Something to be said too about the sound. Like that's another kind of trope that I've almost the exact sound I've heard.
Yeah. There's the phone. They got to show that guitar in there.
Shrek. Hmm. Oh, this is a dream. Oh my gosh, this is an Easter egg. DreamWorks made this movie.
Yep.
Oh my, like, oh come on, come on. What else? The Craft, isn't that about witchcraft? 96. Yeah. MGM. This isn't even a DreamWorks movie, so this is just like a subtle nod to kind of like that thing in that one movie that Zach talks about, how they had that pile of books and there's like that witchcraft book like right there front and center for you to see in like one of those scenes. I sorry to give such a vague thing. I just remember that, because there's nothing. Someone made this entire set. This entire thing is a set. So at the same time, Shrek is obviously an Easter egg they put there. There's a reason that they let you see the craft with Casablanca. Cat Baloo. I'm not sure what that is, but some wacky taste from this guy. But yeah, the craft being right on top, there's no accident that they, of all the VHS tapes to throw on that shelf. And like, look how neatly he has them organized, poor guy. There's that guitar in the background.
Yeah, and it looked like he grabbed those clothes out of Cobain's closet.
Yeah. He went to his salon stylist and said, "Give me the Cobain."
Yeah.
And the guy pulled out a shotgun.
And the way she moves, like she like teleports, like when she comes out the TV, she
Mhm.
like takes this massive like.
There's the portal. The TV is a
Yep.
portal. I feel like if you ran, you could do it because like she's already slipping. Oh, did it not look like her fingers were cut off?
Maybe that is that
Oh no.
symbolism.
Are they at their first knuckle? This one's not. But maybe they're cut off at different parts. Or maybe it's just from the scratching and clawing to get out. That's another
Yeah.
thing they like to do.
How does she do that? Just like.
I'll tell you another thing. Right there, there's no other way they had to do it. They had to include that broken glass. When it
Yep.
comes to the going through the portal, there's almost always accompanied by broken glass of any kind. You'll just notice how they mix these symbols in together, because that's like the breaking of the glass ceiling, the hole in the sky. We'll get into
And then
it.
when they're in the cabin, and then they find out that's the cabin, that's the well. When they move that
It's
rug,
outback,
and then
yeah.
all the
Or
stuff
yeah,
that
it's
just
in the
goes right
middle
to
of the
that spot.
floor. Yeah. They built over that, and it makes you wonder. It's like who built that cabin, and they obviously had no. I think they had knowledge to not tear down the well. Like what? That's the first thing that you do if you're going to build over something. You're definitely filling that well in. The fact that they didn't means that this is somebody in. It's like, oh, did they? Um, Somehow, what's the word? Uh, Mesmerize somebody to build a cabin over it or something. I don't even understand who would build a cabin over an unfilled well and just leave it.
It's
Strange.
kind of that CGI, for the 9/11 too, with the plane with her. It's like, afterwards, it's like that, how she's
She's
moving, and it's just like,
transparent.
yeah.
She's straight out of the movie. It's like she's not there. She's there and not there at the same time. I mean, look at how they do it too. It's like you have, he's obviously like into some form of photography because he has like what were obviously red roomed photos in the background that you like hang up. You know what I'm talking about? Like yeah, it's just red roomed photos, like old school photography where you actually take the negative into like the like liquid into the like water stuff, the solution to like print the film.
Oh yeah.
but it's like, they have it. It's black and white symbolism as well. Let's just leave it at that.
Yeah, that's how the whole movie is. Like, it's the whole movie is like this color. It's this dark, kind of grungy, gray, gloomy look, and they got to have the rain and the water and just.
gotta gotta get something for the foot fetish guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. She picked him up so far away from his chair and put him in his chair, and then
Or
also
like, does he
potentially
get to the
cleaned
chair
up.
and then he dies? Does he get to the chair
Well,
or
not
does
the way
she put? I mean, what
they don't.
happens here?
They kind of lead on that if you were to guess, you would say that it happened in this moment. He died. Like, why
I
else
think when
have
he looks at her, I think he looks into her eye, and right there, his face just
starts
he
to morph?
dies. Yeah, like right there, he like has like a heart attack, and his face can't, like, he strokes out, like he had a stroke. She freaked him out to die, and then, but she, like how I said, I swear he has like
Yeah, you're
something.
right.
Yeah,
Yeah, so she picks his ass up and puts him in the chair, or
and
he's a zombie.
I swear he has something on the back of his head, like headphones on, because when Rachel walks up behind him in the movie at the end, like he's chilling in that chair. I thought he has something on his head, like he's listening to music, like she staged his death, like he's listening to music or something. And then she turns the chair around, like all eerie, and then his face is all messed up. Because people are always dying in a different area too.
Oh, look, we got a black and white version. Oh my god, I can't hear that kid. Can't do it. Don't you understand, Rachel? Oh my god. Dude, he's comfy.
There's the old phone.
Okay, they do put him in a different chair though. So he's got multiple swivel chairs, but they put him in the lounger. She puts him in the lounger. He was in his like office chair, but now he's in the lounger. So that's one thing I messed up. Oh, they do kind of lead on that she was the one calling though, right? Isn't that kind of like the realization that you're supposed to make here is because when she enters, the phone's ringing and then she hangs up. So it like it was possibly her and the 7 days, like, he's thinking 7 days in his head, but it was probably Rachel saying, get the hell out of there. So if he
Yeah,
would have picked up the damn phone.
yeah, because Aiden's like, don't you get it, Rachel? She never sleeps. It's all about sleeping and dreaming and stuff. Because she's like, don't you get it? She never sleeps. And then he gets that bloody nose. His nose starts bleeding, and then she starts freaking out. And she calls them, and then that's when she's rushing over there.
More reflection symbology.
Yeah. Maybe he doesn't have anything on his head. Thought he did. Thought there's something there.
Do you really grab the chair or do you go around?
Yeah.
I think you go around. If it was, really up to us in that movie, I don't think you grab the chair and whip it around. Hey, sleepyhead. If you really think what you're thinking the worst, are you really grabbing the chair and whipping it around, or are you going around
Right.
just
What are you thinking when you walk in there in that moment? You see that, you see him in the chair. Like, what are you thinking when you're walking up? I mean,
just want to point out that Samara biblically means watchtower, which is interesting, or protected by God, which is, say they were going on the basis of that name, would that not be a bastardization of the biblical meaning of Samara to then make Samara what she is in that movie, the least protected by, like, they're saying basically this is what a protected by God child is: tortured, tormented, thrown in a well alive. That's what your God's doing to protect his child. that's the other thing, that's one of those lenses, is once you start noticing, another, point of saying things are satanic is it's kind of pointing out the bastardization the of what would be considered the holy version or the godly version. So we're told, the story of Jesus and his discipleship, and what the Lord does for his son Jesus, and like the people that work through him. Like those are, these are all holy, beautiful things that we're supposed to venerate. But what Satan does, satanic things do, is they invert that. So whether or not they're two sides of the same coin, that's not what I'm arguing. I'm just saying that once you notice these things, you can see what satanic things play off of. There's always a biblical, godly version of something satanic and vice versa. And so you look up who Samara is, it's a protected by God child. In that movie, would they're basically bastardizing what it means. And I saw also the etymology equals elm seed, which, you think of that tree. It, didn't really necessarily look like an elm tree, but potentially.
Yeah, it might have been.
I'd kind of take that back. I think
I
that
think so.
definitely was an elm tree that was on fire in that picture. And, there right there. The etymology of Samra is elm tree or elm seed.
And they got to get that shot in there right before sunset with the tree on fire, the leaves, and the right before sunset, that sun coming through, and that just like with the well closing and the moon phase. And
Yeah, it's almost like they're choreographing their ritual. It's like
yeah,
you imagine, they are doing something, you know, based on the phases of the moon. They're having these Bohemian Grove type meetups um, at these Masonic lodges and places of the like. And I have some stories too, because I've done a lot of catering in my day. And you go out to the sticks into these nice houses in the woods that you're just like, what the hell? Didn't know there were such nice places out there, because it's like so out of the way, and yet you find out they're like rich ass people living there, and it's just like you think that rich people are all about convenience, but what you really turn to find out is that they're really down for basically what they're into. And if what they're into entails being out in the woods, then that's what they're into. They'll mold themselves. They'll be a chameleon for whatever their weird lifestyle entails. And every time I go out there, it's like, say what you want. Like maybe you'll find these in the layman's gardens as well, but I always see those, sun faces. Let's see, garden, just boom. I didn't even, just three noun / adjectives for what I see. There's always these out in their yard. Um, I remember one time I was catering, and this guy walks by, and he like walking by where he's already ate, and he's like walking by talking to this other guy, the rich hottie toddy people. And he's all like, oh, how do you say it? Dang it. I bet my kid knows, because I told my kid immediately. But he was all like, oh, how do you put it? Point is, he referenced Midsummer. He called it Midsummer. He said something. It's like, it's beautiful for this time of midsummer or something like that, which is like, that's okay. You can know about midsummer, but can you really be a rich person living out in the sticks with occultic symbology, like on your outhouses? And I don't mean to go pooping. I mean like outhouses as in like sheds and other things decorated with all these occultic symbology, and then being like a rich hottie toddy person, then talking about midsummer. It's like the people that celebrate midsummer, you're either Norwegian of some sort or Scandinavian or Swedish. That's commonplace, or you're adopting those things here in the US. And when you look up a lot of these, it's pagan. and you can say what you want about pagan, but that is, ritualism. It stems from these paganistic / Sumerian rituals. These things stem from, the old ways, the old, and for better or worse. I'm not saying it's all bad. I think there's a lot of merit to going by moon cycles and doing all that. That's another one. I say that a lot, but we're in our infancy, guys. We're 4 years old. We're 4 episodes in. We're gonna get to a lot on this channel, and we're only scratched the surface, and we're kind of catching our stride. We're learning how to play off of each other and talk about what we know about and try to keep it relatively uniform. But you're going to get episodes like this, and you're going to get other episodes where it's tight and neat. But bear with us, and by all means, I got the scrolling email there. Leave any suggestions in the comment field. Go ahead and tell us what you think about what we're talking about. Object to what we're talking about. But yeah, give us some feedback if you made it this far, and we're all down for that. But we're gonna be touching on a lot, and we're always gonna try to have a gematria lens. We've been a little bit scattered. Gematria is not all about just throwing a number in the calculator, and that's kind of what we've been doing because we have a core knowledge of these things, and we never made this channel to be necessarily a gematria teaching, but we might have to work some of that in for the new viewer. What we try to do is I always have our teacher Zach, Gematria Effect News, linked down in the description. Please check him out for he's a much better teacher of the practice than maybe I'll ever be. That's but I should speak for myself because Austin here is excellent at his retaining of the information. I'm getting better. I've gotten better ever since I found out about it. I'm surprised. I've always been good at math, so that has to do with number recognition and everything. But all the main things I began to remember. Besides the point, there's a practice here, and we try to stick to what we know, and that comes down to key numbers in key situations and key stories that have affected us, and that we try to speak through the stories. And so yeah, feel free to proofread us, give us corrections, give us recommendations, give us criticism. But yeah, we barely scratched the surface on what we're going to be covering through this channel, and I'll say it again, almost as our mission statement, which maybe we should even come up with a mission statement. That might be kind of cool. But what we really intend to do is to form enough of a community to where we're able to, not to say we need it. I see us one day, hopefully soon, being able to meet up independently, just me and you, if that's how it turns out. Obviously invite as many people as we know and try to get as many voices out to join us. But I do see us doing something together, a pub, getting the notice out there, and for us to be able to do an event that we pre-plan, and for better or worse, maybe not have anybody show up, but at least film it, at least document it, and show that we're out here trying to wake up our fellow man, try to get people's brains ticking, and start to realize the foolish games that we're all playing, and placating these disgusting rulers that have nothing but ill intent for us as a species, if you will. And yeah, that we fully intend to be active in our said communities. And you have anything to add to that?
Yeah, and the pounding of the payment, like we talked about, is, like I said, like the ultimate goal. And like I said, I go to Seattle, and I've been with Zach 5 times, and we've just met up a couple months ago. And
That was great.
that's the main goal, the main driving goal of all of this. Obviously keep doing these podcasts, keep them coming. And uh and it's just, the way we've kind of been presenting. I'm just kind of presenting through a lens, showing you, through my own eyes and my own mind, how I have always seen the world to be connected. And then, showing that and what I've researched and what I've learned. And of course, we've applied tons of gematria to all of this, and numbers and dates and numerology and other things. And of course, there's always more there and more to add to all of this. And like I said, it never goes away. But these are just things that, I feel are like, connected on such a level that it's like, this just connects with everything. It's all one. And it's just, ways of looking at it and ways of, showing it. There's so much information. There's so much to talk about. There's so much to look at. So it's like, this is the way I like to draw things up and connect dots, and how I, see things. And, I could just see it. And then all of a sudden I apply the gematria and the dates and numerology. And it's like, wow, what do you know? It's like, I didn't know all this watching The Ring in 2002. I'll tell you that. And now look at where we are 22 years later, and it's about to be, the 22nd anniversary of it coming out on October 18th. It's Event 201 days. So no coincidence there. And yeah, this is just the, like I said, we got so much stuff to talk about. There's so much going on. There's fake assassinations every month to talk about. And all the other things going on with the weather and the weather control. um, depopulation, and just so many. We have a very, especially me, like I have so many things I can talk about. I have so many things to show. These things just hit close to home, and it's just, they never go away. Like I said, the Kurt Cobain, the Ring, and Nirvana, and all this stuff, all these connections, Seattle, and how it's just connected. All this is just how it's all tied in. And how these things come in, and just the key times and the dates and everything. And I like to just bring things up, like random things, like I talked about last one. How, just look how, between the day Kurt Cobain, when he dies, he dies, on April. And then there's the Rome thing there on, March 1st, and then right in the middle of that you have the Denver airport. The way I just fill in that 19 right there, just looking at windows of time, because that's always big, looking at what was going on during that time. Because when something like that's going on or whatever, there's always going to be other huge things right around there, and people might not be able to see it or spot it. People might not know about it. So um it just comes with research. It comes with, seeing things and seeing how they're connected, and why and when they happen. And it's just, everyone has their knowledge and the way they think and see the world. And like I said, I got so much, knowledge and on so many things and so many subjects. And there's no limit to things we can talk about. This channel and what we're talking about, like I said, it's all connected. But there's things that we're going to be talking about. We're going to be talking about everything. Like I said, we're going to do that episode. What even are we? What even is this? And we're going to obviously do one for, the stupid fake selection, probably right before that happens. Talk about that garbage. So we'll talk about that. And the clown world, the clown show. I mean, and we've covered quite a bit so far. I mean, and we've tied in a lot of things in a lot of ways. And that's the thing. It's like, I like to get people to really see, like I said, how connected, how much in your face something is. Because most people, the information, the way, I present stuff, people, uh, they'd be like, holy, oh, I couldn't imagine, I couldn't fathom all this was, that tied in, or they just didn't see it or didn't know. Or so, it's, the way I present, people are going to be learning information. It's just how much of this, like I said, can you retain the information? And how much, you know you want to go and research on your own and add things in, and look at other things and see how it applies. And you can look how this stuff applies in your own life. I mean, like I've said, I give personal examples. You know uh so many things are just, you just know it's not chance, it's not coincidence. So it's, what is it? So yeah, I mean, like I said, we're going to have so many topics, so many things to talk about in upcoming episodes. It's going to get really good. It's going to get really interesting. And you never know what's, going to be the next big thing in your life where you're going to add it in one of these episodes too. You know, you never know like what's going to be the next thing. Although you can kind of call there's going to be another assassination, like I said, there was going to be, and then there is one today. So
Is
you know, like,
Kamala due? Maybe this is all a veil for, you know, getting rid of, by fulfilling that who's the president that said that? It wasn't, it was at the Ford, was it? No, was it Gerald Ford who said that? Yeah, he said that at the Truman Library. No, I'm getting these mixed up, which I shouldn't. But you know, the prophecy about having our first female president.
yeah.
You
And
know,
I
that
don't
could
know if
still.
you've seen Trump's hat he had on this week. I happened to see him with his Trump mega hat on. It had a 45 through 47 on it. So Jesuit order, the 54, the 4 or 5, and they, you know, Cobain dies and everything. And then you have the 47, Trump equals 47, obviously, Nirvana 47. And then you have Trump equals, you know, 88. And there's the 88 on the podium. Yeah, that's the one right there at the 45, 47 on it.
Yep, he's trying to do the whole Grover Cleveland split term. Oh no, Herbert Hoover. That was the library. It was
Yeah.
Gerald Ford, Herbert Hoover. Okay, and yeah, no, you know, if you don't know, Herbert Hoover and died. This Kamala was born the same day that Herbert Hoover died, and he's the namesake of the library that Gerald Ford gave his speech on our first female vice president about a old president dying in office and giving way to a female president. Now, I almost wonder if there could be some, because what they end up doing a lot of the times too is like twisting this. I don't want to speculate too much because it's all it is, a speculation. It's fun too, but just the trending ways things happen. It's all like they sometimes it feels like the obvious thing hits, and then sometimes it's the thing right behind the obvious thing to where you'll be like, oh, okay, so it may even be considered like a backup plan. But like, say they don't do this, you know, because nowadays everybody and their mom is talking about Kamala Harris and the conspiracy behind that. Not even necessarily the Gerald Ford thing, just it's weird how they do it. It's weird how they put it, like I've always felt, and you know, this is a little bit conspiratorial, but like when when you've gone far enough down the rabbit hole and you know what's going on, you start to see media as talking directly to you. And what it is, it's like the they live glasses. It's like you could shake your buddy right next to you who can't see and say, "No, this is what they're saying. They're talking to me. They're saying this to us. Listen." And they're just like, "No, they're not. They're just this. They're just talking of. They're saying this is that." But like the way they go about so many things, it's almost like they're just poking people who know enough, and they're just saying, "Oh, what are you going to do about it?" That's I get that in so much of our media, and you know the end goal here. The goal really is, you know, self sustainability, people to having self responsibility, self sustainability. These things show themselves in, if more people were to have these core ideals, things like overthrowing this would become, you would have a snowball effect. If people were raising their families to not just distrust the government necessarily, just to have their own set of morals and ideas that aren't learned through a talking head at their school or a talking head on the TV, and that they actually, you know, these things are the human element. We can talk all day about just, you know, being that voice in their head that's going to like somehow flip the switch in their head. Yeah, that'd be great, but obviously that, you know, there's we know that, you know, a small percentage of people are going to flip from that type of exposure. What's really the change is those few people that flip from that exposure, they pass it on to the ones around them. That's what's going to start and they hold themselves in their own life. Because like once you like this is something that pisses me off, and Zach, and I'm sure you get these people in the community, the gematria, let's just say the gematria at large community, or at least Zach's community, who they know the deal. They know that all these things are rigged, satanic, and let's just talk about sports. And then they'll be going to sports games. It's just like, how can you drag yourself? It's like, I understand that it's not to like turn yourself into a hermit, shut in, disgusting individual who like, is spooked by a phone call or, someone knocking on the door. But you're going to games, even if someone's paying for you, it's like, make a statement with that person, try to convince that person that they shouldn't go. I can't imagine you want to be all of a sudden the guy back at the game. What are you going to do? How are you going to enjoy yourself at the game? Stay true to yourself. But these people will end up like still going to games and still going to these events and everything. And it's just like, hold yourself accountable and be the good. I can't think of the damn word all of a sudden. I have a brain. But yeah, can't remember. But be a good example for the next person. Because like, what are you gonna do? You're gonna have like this internet personality that decries all these things, but then still be doing them in real life. And once you eliminate that side, you can hold yourself to a certain standard, and that will bleed off. Because you don't want weirdos that can't even control themselves being the face of anything. And when they creep in, and you've seen it with Zach, you've seen these weird characters creep into his channel, and it sucks having because Zach, he's kind, he's a kind heart at, as much as he rants. And you see these people a mile away sometimes, and it's sad because you want to have a optimistic view on things, but you see these people and you just see their aura, and you see them try to weasel their way in and poison the well. And that is a systemic thing that's just in our everyday life. We're walking amongst these people all the time. We are to them, we're the poison. And the truth and the light is the poison to them, because it exposes their hideous moles and their disgusting face. And these are, I mean, maybe they're not necessarily that way, but that's how I see them, because their personality shines brighter than their outward features. But we need to embolden the new generations of people coming up, the kids, and are surrounded, the people around us. We need to embolden them to embrace truth, embrace a truer type of justice, which is breaking free from the tyranny that is clear that we're living in, exposing the cattle prodders, exposing the slavers, the Catholic Church, the Jesuit order, the FBI, the CIA, these face organizations to this larger seven-headed beast. We need to expose it and show the common person, so that they can bring up the new generation with a new set of morals, a new set of, I hate to say beliefs, but a new set, I guess I won't say beliefs then, a new set of responsibility towards a brighter tomorrow. Because the way it's going now, you look at the younger generation, and without anything to live for, all they've been shown is, since 9/11, that, that was my generation. And now those kids are teens. So look at what happens. You have a generation of parents that have this doomer mentality, and now you have super doomers, because all of that negativity, even if you thought you were raising your kid to not have that, all those moments, kids are sponges. Just because they're not mimicking everything they hear doesn't mean they're not taking it in. And it shows in today's day and age where these kids have no direction. They don't want direction. And they're going to be that chaotic group that ushers us into the Mad Max era.
Yeah, I mean, you're 100% right. And it's, it's just so wild watching all this too, like from my perspective, because like I said, like I'm just like old enough to know all this and see all this, but that's why, like I said, I always go back and I make these older references, like from stuff that I liked or I thought was more quality, because it's all like back in the day when I was younger, and it's just like and now it's I see what the world's become too, and like I said, I couldn't imagine what it's like to be a young person right now, and the thing is, it's like you know people can look at me and say, well, you're 29, going to be 29 and a half on, the 29th this month. So you're not like that old, but then it's like, but then I'm going to be like 30. So it's like, and people think I'm still like a kid, but then it's like, well, I'm talking like when I was a kid, like that was like 20 plus years ago, like that's what I'm trying to get at. Like the people today, I mean, this is, what we're saying, like people now, just there's not much hope. There's not, because they didn't even, these kids aren't even going to know what I know. I mean, the fact that, like I've already said, the kids now, I don't see much there for them, because I mean, if there's not somebody like a mentor, like people looking up to, me or you, like I said, people can always learn something from me. I have a lot of knowledge. I have a lot of things that I could show people, teach people. I mean, am I that smart of a person? No. Am I that intelligent? No. I failed preschool. So how smart am I? I mean, come on. Well, that's more just because I threw my stuff in the garbage, my paper, my assignment, because I didn't want to be there, because I knew it was like, why do I have to be here? Why do I have to come here every day? What is this? I don't want this. I could do this at home. It's like, that was my attitude. People say, oh, and then I think that's the big thing. You have to have an attitude in life. Like, people can say, "Oh, Austin's got a bad attitude." No, I have a great attitude. I mean, have you seen my knowledge and what I know and how I live my life? Like, I'm, I wouldn't have it any other way. I wouldn't be any other way. And then, like you brought up the point, like people still going to games, still voting, still wanting to take part in this shit, and it's so stupid. And you have, and Zach's brought this up, and I've brought this up, and we've talked about this quite a bit in this community. Is it is such a diverse community, and you have so many people here. Some people, they only care about the sports, they only care about the sports gambling. They only care about money. Some people, it's like they're new to the work, they're new to the knowledge. I've been a researcher my whole life. I've been researching my whole life. I can't obviously retain everything I've looked at through the years, remember it all, because I've seen so much and researched so much. But that's the thing, it's like a lot of people coming in now, they want to come in, they want to think they know it all, and they're still going to the game, or they're still voting. It's like, I never voted my whole life. Bill Clinton. I mean, you want to vote for Bill Clinton? What Bill Clinton give you? Well, Kurt Cobain went down. I gave you Oklahoma City. I mean, George Bush gave you 9/11. Obama was Osama. I mean, uh, you got the big Trumpy. Yeah, Trumpy's my hero. That's my God, my savior. And then you got, these people, like these women, playing the women role, Hillary Clinton or Kamala Harris. It's just these people just can't, it's like I said, people have to, start looking up to people like us. They have to start, like I said, I'd love to teach the school. I'd love to teach kids. I love to, motivate, inspire people, because I'm someone that could actually do it. These other people, I mean, that's why they can't grow. They can't find success. And a lot of it, I feel too, why people still, like I said, still go to the game and still vote, is because they have to feel like they're part of something. And they have to feel like they have to do it, because, well, how am I going to fit in? I mean, I live in Wisconsin, and everyone's a Packers fan. I can't go against the Packers. I mean, I got to get a love jersey. It's all about love, this, and people, they can't get off. The thing is, people don't have either the vision, or they don't want to the tenacity to try and, fight out of what, is being put at them, but they don't know they're in a fight. That's the problem. They're in a fight and they don't know they're in a fight. They're getting curb stomped. They don't know they're getting curb stomped. I mean, people can't see it. That's why, like, I'm pointing out everything. I'm showing everything, and I'm just so far ahead of these people. And their list, they're just in the background, and they're just lost. They're lost in the sauce. Lost in the sauce 54. Retain information 201. I'm pointing this stuff out, and they're just like, it's just, and that's what I was saying, like, earlier too. Like, I couldn't imagine, I went to my cousin, Brandon's funeral. I seen that, that was, as bad as that was, but I couldn't imagine, still being and going to this funeral and having all the stuff I pointed out and I seen, and having, people not knowing what I'm talking about, be like, oh my God, it's just like, yeah, I can't associate people like that. I can't, have, losers and clowns around me, because you're right. They will bring you down, and they will bring, other people down. And, the big thing is people have to, it really, what I think comes down is priorities. It's like, what are you about? Do you just care about the sports? Do you just care about the money? Do you just care about sports betting? Do you care about, the work? Do you care about the knowledge? Some people, they just know the numbers, gematria. They don't know nothing else. So they're just stuck in the gematria lens. Then some people, they're not good with the numbers, but they're good in other places. So everybody in this community is at a different spot. Everybody's kind of got their own role. Everybody is their own person. But then, people are still helping the system, helping the beast, if you will. So yeah, it is very annoying and frustrating that, it's just like people are still going to go out, and they're going to give Taylor Swift more money, or go buy a Tesla, or do something stupid. It's like, well, you could have just, bought a Honda Civic or a Toyota Corolla for, a couple grand, and it could run forever. So it's like, you could have, could have went that way. But it's so much of it too is, like I said, people, I guess really what it comes down to is people have to have more charisma. I think they don't have enough charisma and toughness to be an individual, and that's where we're lagging. Because, like I said, I mean, people come home. I mean, everyone's watching the TV, right? I mean, everyone's got the TV on, and like I said before, it's hard. They've erased a lot of information that used to be out. I thought, back in 2016 when I was 21, that watching Zach from that perspective and that time, and where the community was then, and watching millions of views on the ticker, and millions for the community, I thought we would have got somewhere. I thought, I'm like, there's no way this is going to go down this way. There's no way. I mean, I still, it was that bad, and I still knew it was bad. It's like, but I'm like, at least we're going to put up a fight. At least, we'll still most likely lose, but at least we could put up a fight. And then I see something like COVID in 2020, and nobody puts up a fight, and then we just get totally screwed. And it's just like, God, it's just, and then I see what's come from it still. And it's just like, man, this continuously drags on. I mean, assassination after assassination after assassination, you know, uh,
I'm sorry. I don't understand how anyone could buy any of these. Oh man, oh, it's just too good. It's people just have no idea that they're being toyed with. Some people are just that lost or that disassociated with reality to understand that, like, there's actually no way that these things are naturally happening. Are you guys, for lack of a better word, and because I want to use this word because that's what they are, they're retarded. And like, I mean that from the bottom of my heart, the way I would have said it when I was 12 years old. These people are retarded. I would never say this to a mentally handicapped person. Those people are a higher echelon than these other people will ever be. The fact that they try to drag these words down to mean like terrible things that you should never be able to say again because look at the disenfranchised group. It's like, shut up. I'm talking about you. You're retarded. That kid's doing just fine in my books. You're a fucking retard. If you think that our former president that, was always had our best interest is being hunted down by a lanky weirdo from a BlackRock commercial on a roof that 80 people are pointing at, takes, barely misses with his Call of Duty freaking, all he practiced playing Call of Duty 14 hours a day just to take that one shot to, this is how he tested for wind speeds and stuff like that, but just barely missed him, caught his ear. Oh, our poor former president, he got shot. Oh, what's that? A little weird like cardboard bandage. Oh, it's gone. Oh, there's no mark. Oh, at your golf course, you're being hunted down by a weird looking, like, it's just like there's no one normal trying to hunt you down. There's just only freaks. Like, is that the only thing, is like freaks are trying to hunt you down? Now we got this new one you're pointing out. It's like it's, if you don't realize they're just trying to keep him at the tip of your subconscious, then you're retarded. You don't have a worthy subconscious. There's no point for you to have a subconscious. The subconscious is there to be tapped. You're supposed to be tapping into your subconscious. Your subconscious is there to take note of things, not to never use again. Otherwise, why the hell would you have it? The fact that these things are being put into your subconscious, but it might as well just be a wood chipper. They're just gone. And you just like, it's like you can't remember anything that just happened, and you think that everything is just so legit when there's no legitness in your own damn life.
Yeah, the fact I called this out. I told you, I'm like, there was that first shooting or the first assassination, then and the clown act that was, how stupid, retarded that was.
Gross.
Then we got the second one, with that AK-47 and Trump equals 47, and even with that black AK-47 with that scope on, he still missed, and it just so happened that he missed him between holes 5 and 6. Yeah, he just holes 5 and 6 golfing, huh? Just couldn't get him there, could you? And then a third one, and then the fact I can tell you, there was a second one. Oh, they did go for a second one. Oh, well, now there's going to be a third one in October. The fact that I can call that and then it happens and they do it again, the fact that I can just sit there and just say exactly what's going to happen and just keep calling these shots, and people still aren't giving me the credit and the respect I deserve. It's like, I don't know what to do for somebody like that. I mean, there's really no hope for these people. I mean, and that's the thing. I mean, they can pull whatever they want to pull. I mean, if they want to bring some trans fluid person on the stage and they're going to be the president, they can just work that out. If they want to go the Kamala route,
you mean Obama?
Yeah, if they're going to get Osama on there, and then they can do another 19 hijackers into the World Trade Center again, or Dave Grohl's going to get depressed on 4 or 5. Man, I can feel it. April 5th's coming. Dave Grohl's going to get a 20 gauge. Someone's going to buy him one, and just it's been a long winter, man. It's been cold. I don't think I can take her anymore. And just boop, April 5th, and then they can do it, and it's going to keep going. And like I said, it's the TV. I guess that's the big thing about tonight is the TV, the UTTV, and all of that, and the Ring, the Ring, and Kurt Cobain, the TV, and it's always the TV. The Mind Control 56, also I-56. All these 56s we brought up tonight, they never ended. All the other numbers we brought up. I mean, this is the thing that it is really amazing because, the fact that how many years I've been, like I said, I've just spent this my whole life. Like, I was never intrigued, to pick a president. I don't care about this. It's stupid. I don't care to hear about the war on terror. I'd rather go play outside. If it's too cold, I'll go play PlayStation or something. I'll play my PS2. I'd rather do that or do something in my room than listen and be part of the war on terror. I don't want nothing to do with this. And then I have to hear about the economic collapse. So why does there have to be an economic collapse? So why does this have to happen? Why does there have to be all these, just things I don't want to have happen, and the people have to buy into it, and then I tell them it's stupid. It's just clownish. It's retarded. It's dumb. There's nothing that you should be intrigued by, or it's just like, how can you sit there and you watch these sports games, you watch the Seahawks, and it's just like I could point out, hey, look at how the Ring 2 comes out in 2005, and then Dave Grohl puts out an album in 2005, and in 2005 the Seahawks go to the Super Bowl, but they lose. I could point out like, hey, look at this, and then someone else would be like, well, I mean, there's kind of something there, but I don't really see how it all connects. Well, all you have to do is just like look at it, the bigger picture. People don't see the big picture. They're so, like I said, they don't understand it's all connected. It's all one. That's the big issue. They want to put everything in a corner, divide it all. This is, it's all one. It's all the same. And you can see that through anything you're looking at. But the fact people, it's just like people want to sit there and think all these assassination attempts are completely different. No, this time they really got him, man. Did you see it? I mean, did you see it this time? I mean, it's like, uh, yeah, did you see the one they actually showed on TV that looked nothing like a shooting? I mean, and then the two people that supposedly died, that what did some guy, or the one guy got hit and survived? Where's that? Where's the guy that died? Where's the person that died? I mean, the camera's right there. I mean, I don't see none of it. This big bullet that looks nothing like a bullet, and you captured it? Huh, it's funny you're able to capture it. I don't see nothing
Yeah.
by Trump's head that looks like that. I mean,
Yeah, it's like that. Huh. Interesting. These cameras are a lot more sophisticated than the CIA has, because you try to go look at the plane that crashed into the Pentagon, and you saw a better image of a bullet. It's like, holy shit, just from a normal, just like a guy taking photos, just not even trying to capture the bullet perfectly frame by frame. Look at this beautiful bullet. Oh, you got a picture of a plane at all? No, no, here's this little white flash.
Yeah, here's this bullet that looks nothing like a bullet. Like, how many gun owners? You don't have to even be a gun owner or shoot a gun or have ever shot a gun to know how fake all of that looked. I mean,
it's basically, how dumb are you to echo this to your neighbor? And then how dumb is that neighbor to say, oh, I know. And then they just look at all these people and they hear them through their smartphones. Trust me, they hear you, all your crap, and they have AI to sort it out to say how much is dissenting and how much is in full agreement. And just best believe the number of agreeing it has to be well over 90%, probably 95% of people that are willing to echo the same garbage and buy into it, to where I think that's the reason why we're not getting the mega storm, that the what's that one movie you referenced last week, one where they have the mega storm and weather
the day after tomorrow.
I think that's the reason we're not getting that bad boy. That'll happen the day we reach 30% dissension. Then they can usher in that huge storm to where anybody that survives a storm like that is either going to be super prepared, and what are they going to come out of their bunkers to? What world will they have for their children? That's the thing about just making a bunker and like hiding out. It's like the people that run this world, they're going to be running the next version of the world too. Are you thinking you're just going to come out of that bunker and say, I'm going to go get my 40 acres and a mule, I'm just going to have my slice of life here? No, you're going to wake up to complete tyranny. You are an automaton for the system if you come out of that bunker, and you will need to come out of that bunker. So we can't all just bunker. We have to do something with our life now, with what we have now. We need to do something that affects this system, however small. We need to light the spark. We need to ignite something. And I'm not saying burn the Capitol down, but we could always, just go pretend to riot at the Capitol and pretend to get shot. That might be effective. Stupid. January 6th is just a joke, and anybody, that's another Chris Rock slap to our face.
Yeah, and the fact they said that was equivalent to the 93 World Trade Center bombing. This one's going to be 9/11. Well, yeah, I mean, can't you see it? They're making it a 9/11. Oh, assassination. Oh, another one. Oh, another one. Oh, maybe there might be a fourth or something else. Who knows? They're just drawing it up. I mean, it's everything is so obviously fixed and staged. I mean, everything is so overly top, ridiculous, and it's weird. It's like, because some people, I think, it's like they wear down from this. Like, it wears you down, and then they just kind of fade off because they're so beat down from the terrorist, and then the germs, and then all the suicides and all the death and all the all the stuff of the world. So it just some people just, they completely kind of stop caring. It overwhelms them to the point it kind of shuts them down. It kind of just takes them right out. And then you have the other people where it's like, they just can't help but stay like I said, in that zone, in the zone of what they want you to be in it. I mean, you have to ask yourself, how can you still go to these stupid games? How can you still vote in this stupid stuff? How can you think that, and that's the other problem is people can't make out what's organic and what's not. We're organic is, go to Dairy Queen and my order's 47 and I'll just talk about the number 47. That's organic. The stuff we're pointing out ain't organic. This is clearly the fingerprints of the Jesuits. It's clearly the Jesuit order. It's clearly the Illuminati. It's clearly the Freemasons. It's clearly these people. What we show and how they go about it. I mean, look at what we broke down tonight. I mean, look at all the work we put in tonight. I mean, we gave people a lot to look into, a lot to look at, and a lot to think about. And I think that's what people need. I mean, I feel like a lot of the younger people that's what they need. They need someone that's going to be there to help see this stuff, help point them out. Because, like I said, most of the youth is, they're born into this corruption already. They're already corrupt. I mean, they don't know, any decency of what life used to be. So, and some of them are at different points. I think about people that are, uh, you know, being affected by everything that's going on in, Florida and Texas and in the South. Well, those people they're at a different point in all this, because they've got hit with all this. So, that's affected them and they're being affected. So everyone's kind of at a different stage. Like, how many times can I keep, curb stomping your face into the pavement here? Until you've had enough. I mean, that's what it's coming down to. When are you going to tap out? I mean, when are you going to have enough of this? I mean, how can you? That's the thing. I mean, I can't believe the first shooting passed, the first assassination. I can't believe that got by. And then they do it again, and they do it again, and they just keep bringing it. It's just,
Imagine
I
if there
mean,
was enough people who can truly see there that day, why they'd be at the Trump rally. Maybe it's to expose something. Imagine if there was enough people with that mindset to literally say, no, 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 no. Rush that stage, make an insurrection happen right then and there. Expose these lying fools, go up on stage with your smartphone and take pictures of Trump in his bleeding ear. You know what I mean? It's like, and the fact that, the common person is so afraid to, because of the systems put in place, it's like, that's what we need to break out of. It's like, if we're afraid of doing these things that are right in front of us, if we're too afraid of the veiled threat of punishment, from the FBI or whatever, if we're afraid of that now, that's lacking in the foresight of the future. The future, we're not going to have the luxury to attempt to, soon it's going to be thoughts. If, look at how AI tracks itself right now. We're going to be put in baskets. Certain people are going to be considered to have these kinds of thoughts. And when you have a certain thought that goes outside of that jurisdiction or that, basket, you're going to be, it's going to be Minority Report. They're going to know you. They're going to put you where they think you should be before you even attempt to be in that spot. But then, yeah, it's just the idea that all we can see is it's just so short-sighted. Our mentality as a human populace, as a populace, it's just so short-sighted to where, yes, we got to put food on our table somehow. Yes, we got to, keep a status quo of living, but it doesn't have to be through these systems that are systematically taking advantage of us at every turn. You got to think to yourself, if you were given the option, would you screw over your fellow man? Well, every subscription you have, every business you go through for, internet, insurance, all these systems that we use, they all screw us over. There's not one of them that is thinking about the betterment of their fellow man, because we are not their fellow man. We are lesser than. That should be a bumper sticker. I'll try to remember that. Actually, I'm going to write that down. But yeah, go ahead while I write this down.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny too because they say the 19-year cycle 2039. It's funny, I'd be 44. Kill equals 44, and I'd be in my 45th year of life. So it's kind of funny. You got the Jesuit order, the 4-5, and everything right there, and I can't. That's the thing. I can't fathom by where we're going to be by that time. Another 14, 15 years. That's the thing. I can't fathom it. I can't. Um and who knows if that is where I'm going to die. I'm going to die in Seattle at the age of 44 in my 45th year of life, and that's when it's going to end. Or I mean, I can't fathom this continuing on for much longer. And like I've said, where this is the thing. It's like we're coming to the point where it's like the people that somewhat maybe seem somewhat normal, maybe have a clue. I don't know. Maybe there's some hope for. Maybe they get it. Maybe they figure it out. I don't know. It's just everybody's in their own world. I mean, everybody's divided in their own perspective, and it's like uh there's never and the problem is for a lot of the kids and the youth now, they don't have um the individuality has been taken away. People don't have that individuality like they used to, and you can't really be an individual anymore. Everybody's got their molds. People are stuck in and to fit people in, and you see so much of like these personality issues where it's like I've said, you could show somebody some of this stuff, and like I said, they kind of get it, they kind of understand it, and then it's like then all of a sudden they don't, and then all of a sudden they're still voting, and all of a sudden they're still watching TV and sports like it's real, and it's just like I don't know what it is with these people. I mean, it's like, and then you show them the stuff and they know about it, but it's like they can't get out of it because, like, well, man, I got a wife, I got a kid, I got a family. Well, what future does your wife and your kid and your family gonna have? They ain't gonna have no future. I mean, it's like I said, you got to know the Georgia Guidestones. There's a reason the Georgia Guidestones are 19 feet tall. They're in stone. It's kind of like on the uh, March 19th, 94, on the stone, the 19, and there's the 19 again. They got to catch on these little patterns, all in stone, all is numbered. Why do they etch all his number in Masonic Temple in Washington, D.C.? I mean, people got to look into this stuff, uh, and people, like I said, people still don't know about the Georgia Guidestones and, Georgia 44 and Kill 44, and they don't know these simple things. And and when you lack knowledge on all fronts, I mean, but still, I mean, it's like I said, I mean, how can you, I mean, if you're honestly emotionally invested in what's going on, I mean, this has to be crippling you as a person. I mean, what are you really thinking if you're a Trump supporter and this guy keeps supposedly getting assassinated? Like, what is really honestly going through your mind? I mean, what are you really thinking? I mean, are you really thinking like that every time like that this keeps building, that there's nothing to this, that this is completely real, and that this is all because he's here to he's God, he's the savior, he's gonna save you, and he's the best, and he's gonna turn this country around, and he's the only hope. I mean, this has to be wearing on you that he's getting almost assassinated constantly, so it's got to wear these people out. It's got to tire them out. What's going through their head? It's like we're in such a mania right now. We're in such a mania of the mind. It's like mind mania. It's like, uh, how far can we stretch people? How far can you stretch? How flexible are you? How much agility do you have to get to, maneuver and, get through all of this? I mean, uh, it's no different. Like I said, them bringing the politics into the weather and stuff. How they just draw this up. They just draw it up and they drag it out and they draw it up and they drag it out. I mean, uh, I don't know how it couldn't. I mean, I can't stand it. I can't even deal with it, and it still annoys me and pisses me off. I couldn't imagine being supposedly in this, invested in it. I mean, what's going through these people's minds? I mean, it's just wow.
Absolutely. And the sad reality is, you have the affected people, especially with the weather going on right now. And, that's sad in its own right. And that's, disturbing and all these things. But what's more disturbing is realizing that these people are going through this so that they have a news story, so that they have an outlet to push A, B, and C. They have basically an excuse. They have a reason for mass destruction. They also have a reason to politicize it, like you said. Oh, how is, look at what Biden controlled FEMA's doing. Oh, look at what Biden controlled, Kamala Harris hasn't been out there yet. It's $750, and then they give $157 million to wait, where did they give 157? Was it like Ukraine again? No. Was it Palestine? Yeah, well, it was Palestine, wasn't it? It's sick what they do, because let me just double check that before I go on a tirade. Million to, or is it Pakistan or something? No, Lebanon. Yeah. Humanitarian aid to Lebanon. So this is how they do it. They have these, like, they pull at the heartstrings. It's like, does anyone even remember that there's like a war going on with Israel and Palestine, and like all these other former faces are getting involved? Now we got Iran involved. Ooh, they got nukes. Ooh, Iran's coming in the game. Ooh, North Korea's threatening South Korea again. Ooh, they got nukes. Ooh, it's just like, does no one remember what they were doing when Trump was in office, or even just before then when Barack was in office, how with the Russia, and then you like you were saying, the AK-47, that's standard issue to the Russian military. That's like, if you hear there's a Trump shooting, you're basically saying, okay, maybe the first joke you'd make is, would they use an AK-47? Like knowing what we know, and then they'd be like, yeah, they did, and you're just like, oh my God. It's just like, people, and then the Crooks shooting, it's an AR. Oh, it's an AR. What are they coming for? An AR, your ARs, your assault rifles, you're assaulting people with your rifle. No one's using it to defend anybody. They're only going out and committing atrocities. They're going into empty schools and just letting off rounds and changing their shoes. This is rampant. All these empty schools are being shot up. It's rampant. We got to get rid of these guns. Look how safe it is to be in the UK right now. Your likelihood of being stabbed is only, at like 80%, but you're not getting shot at. It's like, what are your chances with a gun? It's just like, well, what are the chances of someone running up on you if you have a gun? There's no talk about the defense aspect of it. Is there any statistics that you see any year by any politician about the amount of crimes that have been stopped by a gun? And it's just like, oh wait, we're refunding the police, huh? You look at it's hilarious what they do. I want to do nearing the election, maybe the week before and the week of, we should have, still do some different segments. But what we could do is, like, maybe the week before the election show, we could talk about local elections, because I have, one thing that's always been hilarious to me is that normal adults, we talked about retaining information. Can people not understand that we have been seeing the same exact political ads our entire life? No changes, literally rinse and repeat, saying the same things, the same emphasis being put on words. When they're talking about the negative aspect of the character, the screen goes black and white and there's like rain. It's like, are we kids? Are we little babies that need to be shown, oh, it's bad now. Oh, that man is bad because they said the name bad and now it's rain, black and white, bad. Oh, but then the rainbow comes out and it's sunshiny when it's the ad is paid for by friends of this fucking person. What does that even mean? Who's got friends that are paying for ad campaigns? What they mean is they're being lobbied by big groups that don't give a shit about you. And instead of saying and being honest by saying, this is being paid for by your government, your tax dollars. BlackRock, this is being paid for by McDonald's. Instead, they say friends friends of the politician. This is being paid for by his friends. Just they're going out and they're, you know, hanging out on the couch every weekend and they're talking on the phone all the time, the politicians and the no, this is being paid for by big lobby groups to put these ridiculous ads out that they haven't changed in decades. I'm over 30 years old and I can recite the same ads that they were doing for and against Ralph Nader, the same ones they're still doing today. John Kitzhopper from these are stupid names that you'd have to know for being and living in Portland, but it's just like they just keep them coming. They just keep up the same exact thing. And it's just like once you realize that this is psychological, you see it everywhere. There's no escaping it. And the fact that anybody could be moved by this, it's like, okay, maybe they can't. I'm also to the ilk of maybe this isn't fooling any like large enough populace, but the fact that they still keep doing it, it's just a big FU. It's just like the fact that they can maybe even sway numbers of people to vote while they're still doing these insane things to you psychologically, showing you these insane, stupid ads, and you'll still potentially vote. It's all part of the same, like you say, it's all connected. These things are all part of the psychological stew that they force you to eat, the slop. It's all connected. It's like if you might think that, you're disconnected from it because you don't buy into the political campaigns, the ads, they're all, just disinformation and negative, but you're still going to vote for one of them because you still believe in the two-party system or the party, your party's right and the other party's not, or you still buy into sports. It's sports are not disconnected from politics. Zach can prove that in spades, and he does every single day, but never mind that aspect of it. It's just what it is from if you can know anything about history, the inception of sports, the inception of what they use sports for. And it's really sad too, because sports has the capacity and the capability of building incredible bonds between people quickly. I might add, I played sports in high school, but when you see what it's used for, WWE sports are not, they're not healthy. They're not healthy for your mindset. They're not healthy for your systems of belief, if you want to call it that, your moral compass, your guidance. People should not be paying any adherence to these political campaigns, sports on the TV, news on the TV. These people are all deplorable nonsense pushers that only work to move the propaganda machine further every single day. And the longer we placate into it and we play into it, before you know it, we're going to wake up and 1984 is going to be knocking on our door, and we're not going to have a single say in what's going on because it will be under martial law, and there'll be a military of statesmen from the globalist statesmen that work for the New World Order agenda. And I can be going on an Alex Jonesy type of rant here, but I know exactly what I'm talking about. And it won't be the U.S. Marines. See, that's the sick joke that they're playing on you. The U.S. Marines, they're being, if anyone's being psychologically tortured, it's the people that are honestly, potentially honestly signing up to do something noble with their life, only to be turned into the exact opposite of that. And the military that is going to be holding us all down is going to be a military of mercenaries. It's going to be a mercenary military of these gray group, under a gray flag. It's going to be all sorts of countries coming together to hold the whole world down, to inflict, to put us under martial law, to put us under, 1984. There's always some huge guiding governance, and I think, you get the left decrying the military, and basically, this has been going on since Vietnam. there's always been a negative military thing. And I'm not sitting here trying to say that we shouldn't have a military. There should be some form of a military, I think. But just the whole idea that we need one is already a red flag, in my opinion. If we have warring nations, that type of stuff needs to be solved. That might be out of the grasp of obviously what we're talking about here. But like I said, I don't think it's going to be our own military coming in to hold us down. Maybe parts of our own military, but it's going to be this mega group of, I should stop the Alex Jones now so I don't turn too many people off. But anyway, any closing thoughts? I definitely got to get my dogs taken care of. They're probably just like, what is this fucking guy talking about? I got to piss.
Yeah. No, you're 100% right. And that's and that's just the thing and where we're at in all of this. And like you're talking like with what's coming and, with, how this all might go down, the digital currency and everything, whatever they have in store for us, however this is going to go. I mean, whatever they're going to do. The battle right now is obviously to try and, stop it and do what we can do so we don't have to, continuously live through the bullshit they keep putting us through that we all have to go through. And, it's like I said, you have to know people like Klaus Schwab. You have to know Klaus Schwab said you're going to know nothing to be happy. You got to know Trump, Trump, the highest degree of Satanic Church, the highest degree of Satanic Church. You got to know that. You got to know Klaus Schwab and the Illuminati and all this stuff. And it's all connected and all these people. And that's what it comes down to at the end of the day. I mean, like I said, you get 10% of the population, you get enough people, that we should be our own military. We shouldn't be out in other countries. We should be here. There shouldn't be always be a war. There shouldn't be all this bullshit going on. And, the sense of community, the sense of, what we're trying to do here, obviously with the pounding of the pavement, coming together, doing these podcasts, trying to, get this information out. That's just what the push has to be. There has to be more people like us that, find ways to engage and find ways to, meet people where they're at and show them what's up. And the bottom line is, we're all in this together. I mean, everything affects all of us. I mean, just because you're not getting taken out in the hurricane, I mean, your rent and your insurance and your prices, everything is going up. So it's not like you're really out of it. It is all one, it is all connected, and you're not gonna escape nothing. And if you're not gonna, get out of the country and go live down by the equator and try and outlast down there, well, then you're gonna stand here and fight with the rest of us, because we're just fighting for our lives. And the biggest thing is, when you're fighting for your life, people have to know the first thing is you're in a fight. People don't know they're in a fight. Like I said, they don't know about Event 201. They don't know all this information, and that's just the thing. And people have to just get, fed up with it and not want to, not just not participate, but they have to just straight up, just flat out, just say, no, I'm not going to do this. I don't want to do this. No, this is stupid. No, this is dumb. I mean, people just got to, call it out and stick to it and, not be afraid to stand on their own 2 feet, so to say. I think that's the big thing. I think a lot of people, when it comes to stuff like this, they'll just say, oh, I'm too weak, I'm too small, I'm too weak, I'm too small, I don't have the confidence, I don't have the charisma, I don't have the toughness. Well, it's not that hard. I mean, all you got to do is just say no. All you have to do is not comply. I mean, it's that simple. I mean, all you got to do is just not go along with it. Boom, it goes away. Like I said, these people don't deserve any attention. They do nothing for you. You shouldn't be looking up to any of them. They shouldn't even exist as far as I'm concerned. So that's what it just comes down to. I mean, we can keep staying this stuff till we're blue in the face and, we're dead. But, the fact of the matter is there's going to be another shooting. There's going to be another something. There's going to be another whatever. There's going to be another fake assassination or whatever they're going to do. So people at some point just have to catch it. They've told you this one's going to be a 9/11. I'm expecting massive things. I don't expect the world right now to look anything like it does by my birthday the next 6 months. We're going to go through a huge change. We're going to go through a huge transition. We're going to go through a lot of shit in that time. I mean, I think we'll still be here, but I don't know. Bottom line is these people are, you've seen how they operate. I mean, All I know is I can't fathom another, like I said, by the time I'm 44, my 45th year of life, in 2039, waiting for the next 19-year cycle, I can't fathom that time. I can't fathom where we're going to be. And that's why we're doing what we're doing now. And like I said, I don't plan on stopping until I'm dead and quitting until I'm dead. So I'm here till the end, and we're just going to keep pushing. And people just have to find a way to see that we're calling it and we're saying it like it is, and we're connecting the dots, and we're showing you it's all one, it's all the same, it's all connected. People just have to see it and just shut it down. As simple as that. It's all right there in front of your face. I mean, and I think that people got that out of the first 4 episodes. I think the first 4 episodes, I think people can clearly see that. I think, we're taking things to the next level. We're going to keep doing that and just keep doing whatever it takes at this point. And that's pretty much, I think, it. Because I mean, it's just like I said, you can call what's going to happen. It's going to happen. I mean, people, that's where it's got to happen. People, there's got to be that event. It's got to happen. They got to be in it, and then that's got to be it for them. And that, or something's going to have to give. Something's just going to have to happen, and that's kind of happening right now. But I mean, it's just kind of we're just watching this go down, and that's all you can do, and just keep fighting back, keep pounding the pavement, making podcasts, doing what you can. And that's pretty much it. I mean, yeah, it's amazing. I'll say that much. It's all amazing.
And double that thought. And I do want to throw a small prediction out there, just in a little bit of my research. The next named storm would potentially, if it reaches named status, because the weather system does a weird thing with named hurricanes and storms, is Nadine, which equals 47. And tomorrow would represent 47 days to the end of hurricane season, otherwise known as cyclone season, which equals 201. And so don't be surprised to get hurricane news tomorrow. Potential, and this is another Atlantic hurricane too. So just imagine if, say, they hit the middle of the Gulf, they hit Florida directly. So they hit with Helene, middle of the Gulf. They hit directly Florida with Milton, and then they go up the eastern seaboard, similar to, I think, what they did last year. Very similar. I know the eastern seaboard had one go like just rode the whole east coast. So don't be surprised if they get a new weather system tomorrow, or at least news of one, because they generally take a few days to make landfall, but they'll mention them like being a serious thing a few days before. And tomorrow would be 47 days until the end of the season, and that's what Nadine equals, which would be the next named storm if this were to be one. So yeah, that's my small little prediction. But thanks for tuning in, anybody that caught us. Thanks for staying. I'll have to clip my prediction if it shows our audience retention. I'm happy. I'm proud to have people, on average watch near, close to an hour of our podcast, which, that's, we're just two dudes. So I'm honored, and thank you to all the people who do tune in. And please, like the video, leave a comment, do what you can. I'm never going to beg for that kind of stuff. I could care less, honestly. But it does give us, other than the fact that it does give us, feedback indirectly or directly, on how we're doing and that we should be doing it. Although I don't think we're going to stop. But yeah, I am speaking for myself here too. Austin can care about that as well as I don't. But like I said, I'm gonna go take care of my puppies, and that was a banger. I had a lot of fun. Started off on a little bit more of a somber note, but I think we kind of led that into different avenues of thinking and thought, and hopefully we left people with something to think about, something to look up, something to check us on, have a little homework, and open up that third eye.
Yep, open up the mind. You never know what's staring at you right in the bushes. The big monster with the eyes in the bushes looking right at you. You don't see it, and it's always right there. And like I said, that's just the whole thing. Everyone's got their worldview and how they see things, how they connect things, and how they look at the world. And certain people have, like I said, see things other people don't. People see things faster than other people, and hopefully, through the first 4 episodes, people can see what's organic and what's real and what's fake and what's not organic and real. So I think we've done a great job at the first 4 episodes, and we plan on keeping them coming.
On that note, thanks for tuning in, everybody. This is a Finding Truth podcast on Unscripted Truth TV, and tell your friends. Later.